Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday night. Live from LA, Los Angeles. It's Sunday night. My team just got shellacked. My team just got destroyed right now, man. The New York football Giants just came out and just got obliterated on national television, ass kicked. And damn, there's like really no other way to say it. Hope all of y'all's football Sunday went better than mine because, man, I was waiting all day for Sunday night and that was a nightmare. So good God, talk about a letdown, man. But anyways, man. Another night, another stream. I'm trying to stay consistent with this. Talk some basketball, talk some FIBA. If you want to talk a little NFL, we could do that too. Just figured I'd pull up, kick it with y'all, see who's here. See who wanted to talk some basketball or whatnot. Let's see who's coming in out the gate. Let's see here. Michael Angel, salute to you. Thank you for pulling up. Hope your Sunday's going well. Let's see here. Von Ryan, same to you. What's good with you? Hope everything's going well with you. Lakers 60, 1973. What's going on with you? Thank you for pulling up on a Sunday night. Appreciate you. Goat James, what's up, my guy? What up? Hope your team was better than mine was today, because damn. Knowledge, know the ledge. Backpacker beats, let's get it. You already know the deal. Knowledge, you know what it is. You know the type of music, what we listen to. We know we like that boom bap over here. So that's about the only thing that started to cheer me up after just seeing my New York Giants just get man. Bloodhound, what's up? Thank you for pulling up. Appreciate you. I feel like doing a b-boy stance on this back to this backpacker beat. You know what I'm sitting there waiting for the show to go live. I'm literally sitting there. Sometimes that beat does catch me, and I'm just like, man. Even though I've heard it 1,000 times, yeah, that beat still gets me. I still love that stuff. That beat to this day. I'll probably never change it on this stream. I love it that much. Chris, the graphic god, what's going on with you, brother? How you doing, man? How you doing, man? Man, I was hoping that we'd get a win, and then you might be able to knock out your first New York Giant graphic for me tonight. But today, nah, man. Search and destroy, the best moderator in the game. How you doing? Happy Sunday. Thanks for pulling up. As usual, Dante T. Gang, what's good with you? I'm good other than my team getting blitzed. Outside of that, nothing really to complain about tonight. Yes. Please like and subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. Your boy's trying to grow in these YouTube streams, so please help your boy out, please. That that Giants Cowboy game was ugly. I tried to watch for as long as I could. Danny Dimes getting $40 million a year. Yeah, Bloodhound, man, I watched all of it. I'm a fan. I watched it, but you know what it was like. That if any of you guys watched the beginning of that game, we were looking great in that first drive. Everything was going great. Daniel Jones was getting whatever he wanted. Saquon was getting what he wanted. We're like, let's go, Say. Like, he was rocking. And then what always happens with the Giants, the same thing that happened in the playoffs last year against Philly, because they had a similar drive. They were driving, and then Daniel Jones tripped over his lineman's foot, fell down, and just the wheels fell off. Everything just obliterated after that. Same thing tonight. Same exact thing. They're driving, they're moving the ball. Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley are slaying. Then an offensive lineman gets a false start, and then they snap the ball wrong, and then they get their field goal blocked, and it's returned for a touchdown. It was just like, what kind of witchcraft is this, man? It's crazy. Craziness, man. Was not with that. Not at all. Not at all, man. Yeah, I know, Chris, man. I was hopeful, man. I was hopeful today. Like, we got a little spoiled last season with the Giants. We were playing a little bit above our heads, but then we got the Cowboys week 1. I can't stand the Cowboys, but that defense is absolutely elite, and they were just on display today, for real. Raiders, let's go, Jimmy G, shoot up. Yeah, that was a good game. That was a really good game. Down to that first drive where that game started, it was like the onside kick, and then it got overturned, and Jimmy G got hurt, and he still got the touchdown, and then that huge first down at the end of that game. Like, that was a good game for the Raiders on the road. Good opening season win on the road for them. I'm a Patriots fan. I'm glad they kept it competitive. Yo, I was rooting for y'all, man. You know, the Eagles are in my division, so I was rooting for you guys today for sure. Katie, what's up with you? Appreciate you pulling up on a Sunday here. Appreciate you. Giants not even in the NFL after that game. Yeah, I don't know what league they're in, man. They got to get to arena football or whatever that stuff is that they were like hyping up during the offseason. Like, yeah, get that out of there. But anyways, we'll get back to football. I just want to touch on everybody here, and we could talk some basketball here. It's kind of just like open floor, no real topic today. I'm just going to talk a few different things. As we know, Team USA got shellacked again. Well, they didn't get the break speed off them, but might as well have. They lose to Team Canada. They let Dylan Brooks just go off. And that probably should have been the gold medal game. Ended up being the bronze game. And the Lakers, the U.S. national team didn't even medal in this tournament. And that is crazy. That is crazy that they didn't even get a medal in this one. Chao Lee, salute to you. Hi to you, and thank you for pulling up as well. But to no one's surprise, at the end of that game, when Austin Reeves still scored above 20 points, was very efficient, had a good game. He's still catching blame. So, it's funny because I was talking about that last night about how people are jealous of him, of playing with Braun and AD and just being a Laker and overachieving, being undrafted, getting his bag. And now he's a target for the haters and the people just want to blame him and pick on him. And, that narrative is starting to go around now. So I'm happy. So people are starting to recognize that it's a jealousy thing and people are hating on him and it's trash. You know what I mean? So Austin is a very good ball player. But if, like I said last night, if Austin Reeves is a top 2 or 3 player on a national team, then that national team has got some problems because that is not his role. His role is to play off of star players. He is not a star player. So for people to sit back and, continue to try to blame Austin Reeves for the loss in this tournament, they need to look at, the other, they need to look at Steve Kerr over there, man, because I don't know what this man was doing. But shout out to Lamont over at FYF Sports. I caught a Big Art show, some of it earlier today. I was listening to it. Shout out to Big Art too. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know his channel. If not, go over to Big Art Sports. Puts in a lot of work over there. Salute to him. But Lamont had mentioned on that show, he had said that since 1950, the USA has only won the FIBA tournament 5 times since 1950. Now, that's pretty crazy. So they clearly don't take this tournament very serious. They just get guys ready to see who can play on potentially the Olympic team, but only to win it 5 times since 1950. It's pretty much dominated by Yugoslavia and Spain. This tournament in the FIBA. So that I did not know. So, every now and then you learn something new on YouTube. That's kind of cool. Well, not cool that we haven't won it, but it's just cool information. I didn't know that. So they've only won 5 times over the last 73 years. That is bananas when you think about it. Anytime NBA fans can find an excuse to hate the Lakers, they do. Just jealous of us. Yeah. And it's just a Laker thing. It's the Braun thing. And then it's the guy, there a lot of these dudes look at Austin Reeves like a regular guy, acting like he's just a nobody that just came in because he playing with Braun, he got paid. And he's thriving playing off of Braun and AD. There's no doubt about that. But the guy could play on any team in this league. I know that for a fact. Playing with LeBron has absolutely helped him. But at the end of the day, let's give Austin Reeves credit, man. People are jealous of an undrafted dude who got his bag. That's just crazy. Does this mean that the team wasn't good enough or Corey didn't coach as well? I think both. I think there's talent on this team, but there's no chemistry. I think there was no real strategy. And their best player, their best players essentially were Bridges, Ant-Man, and Reeves. Ingram basically gave you nothing. JJJ was terrible. Brunson, just couldn't guard anyone. People getting on Reeves for his defense. Brunson is way worse. Halliburton and Reeves had tremendous chemistry, but Halliburton was the one truly getting hunted out on defense. So there's a lot of things that went wrong there, but it starts at the top of the coaches, and if you knew you got, these other teams are big. They play the game the way the NBA did back in the day. They don't play today's NBA game. So every other team out there is playing kind of quote unquote the right way. And the NBA is just in this free run, shooting threes, big men shooting jumpers, like no real dominant big man anymore. And when you get out in these tournaments out there in FIBA, who with all these guys got really like good bigs, and some of them in the NBA that aren't playing that great because the NBA doesn't utilize their skill set correctly. So when you get over there in the FIBA, these guys are like, okay, they're running sets, they're running plays for them, they're playing like traditional bigs. They're in a system that they're more comfortable with, and they can thrive more than they can in the actual NBA. They just make more money in the NBA, so they come here, get their bag, and they go home and represent their country every summer and show people what their skill level really is. Probably on Kerr's shoulder. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Search. This will super motivate AR this year. Not that it needs to, though. Yeah, he got paid. He's been getting his flowers. Laker fans love him. The media loves him. The media is not slaying him. These are weirdo NBA, Twitter, and YouTube people. And some of it is to get clicks. I did a show on it last night, but it really wasn't. just like an attention grab. It was really a topic I wanted to talk about. But there are people who would just put it in the headline, talk about it, and then go on a bunch of other stuff, throughout, and really not talk on the topic. They're just using it to get views, and I get the business part of that. A lot of people do that with Braun. A lot of people do that with Jordan. A lot of people do that on Kobe's name. It's all in the game. That's what it does. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular. There's no subliminal here. I'm just saying in general. Sometimes, you got to do what you got to do to grow your business on YouTube. But at the end of the day, I don't really, I don't see the point of coming at Austin Reeves. I'm okay with the conversation of talking about what type of player he is, because I think people undervalue him. People think he's overrated. I actually think he might be underrated, as crazy as that sounds, because he really is a heck of a ball player. He truly, truly is. How you doing, Chow? How you doing? Let's see. But yeah, so the game was like at 1:30 a.m. my time last night. So I didn't catch it live. I was up almost around that time, but I forgot the game was even on. Then I started to pull off and I put it on, and I kind of just dozed off. But woke up this morning and saw the news and saw what happened and saw that Dylan Brooks went off, and I was like, what in the hell just happened? But Canada was a good team. Even without Jamal Murray, they were a good team. They underachieved too, and it was kind of the two guys that underachieved and faced off against each other, and our neighbors to the north beat us. So I am happy for Dennis Schroeder, though. I really am. He came back to the Lakers, then went out. He made some more money with Toronto. They won the tournament over there. He was the best player on the best team, and congrats to him. I'm happy for Dennis, man. That whole fumbled bag false narrative, which is another one, by the way. It's another false narrative. I'm happy for him that he's kind of turned that around and making a name for himself once again, but in a positive light. Dante says Kerr really loves small ball lineups. JJJ getting out rebound is crazy. Yeah. Triple J was just getting abused, and he's not that great of a rebounder anyways. He's really not. If you watched a lot of his games this year, when Steven Adams went down, he wasn't the same type of player defensively or on the board. So playing next to Tillman wasn't the same as playing next to someone like Steven Adams, who's just strong and like just a brick wall out there, and people just bounce off him like a BB hitting a brick wall. When you're playing against when you're playing with a really strong dude like that, and a guy that a lot of dudes don't really want to bang up against, a lot of times you can use that to your advantage. And when Steven Adams went down, I don't want to say that Triple J got exposed, but he wasn't necessarily the same player. So Dylan the villain, best defense in the world. You know what? I know a lot of people want to make fun of Dylan after running his mouth and doing all that stuff. He is a good defender. He is a very good defender. He made all defensive team. He's a good defender. He's not the best defender in the world. That is crazy. But, if he wants to say that, he could say that. But for people to say that he's trash and he can't defend because he's a clown and it's easy to just bash him and talk shit about him, that's cool. But the guy really can defend. And he scored today too. Dylan Brooks is not a trash ball player. He's not. He just puts the wrong attention on himself and puts the wrong bulletin board material out there for his team. And he needs to mature, really. But as far as Dylan Brooks, the ball player, he's not trash. He's just a goofy, weirdo human being. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's not trash. KD said, will Vincent be a better fit offensively on this Laker team than Schroeder? That's a good question. I want to say yes. Dennis had his moments, obviously. And Dennis was kind of like the guy that wants to start, but was coming off the bench, and he was trying to force his, not saying force, but he was trying to play like a starter instead of like a reserve role. And he wasn't like a true point guard looking always to get people involved. He was looking for shots a lot too. So Gabe, I think, is more, dare I say, more Derek Fisher-ish than Schroeder is. So I think Vincent is a very good role player for this team and a very good role player for a championship contending team. And I think he will have a very good season with the Lakers. He may have some ups and downs because I know when guys first start playing with Braun, there's an adjustment to it, especially guys who have the ball in their hands. But I like Gabe's catch and shoot potential. I like his shoot off the dribble potential. I like his shooting off pick and roll potential. I like there's a lot of things that Gabe can do well. He actually looks like he's getting into even better shape. So I know, he's putting in that work. He got paid. Probably last year he was working. He was trying to show to get that money, but I'm sure he doesn't want this to be his only contract. So he's going to probably, really come in here and look to play well. And hopefully he's not one of those guys that once he gets to LA, he forgets how to shoot. Hopefully. Prayers for the people in Morocco. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but something sounds like something bad happened there. So definitely prayers to them for whatever it is they're dealing with. Because he believes in himself, that's what counts. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I'm all for people and he got out in the court today and then backed it up. He scored, he played well. He had a lot better tournament with Canada than he did in the NBA playoffs. I'll tell you that. But he's got to, he's gonna come into the league and running his mouth. He's got to be careful this year because I don't think a lot of teams are going to put up with that. And he's not going to be on a very good team, and he's not going to have a lot of good players with him. So if he's going to run his mouth, teams may be able to look and make an advantage of him and make an example of him by taking advantage of him. Excuse me. Dung, thank you for pulling up. Appreciate you. Dylan Brooks, to me, his game similar to PJ Tucker, hard-nosed defensive player that can hit the three ball, but Dylan can dribble better than PJ Tucker. Yeah, I think PJ is a much better defender, especially with multiple positions. He can hit the corner three better, but I think Dylan Brooks has a more offensive game than PJ Tucker. But to be honest with you, if I had to pick between the two on my team, I would take PJ Tucker. I just prefer it to be 5 years ago. PJ getting up there in age. Oh, it's a bad earthquake, huh? Yeah, prayers to them. Being in Southern California here, man, I know a thing or two about earthquakes, and those things can really, really, really be life shattering. So yeah, God bless them and prayers to them for sure. Stay up. What's up to you, man? Thanks for pulling up. Appreciate you. Thank you for the support. What European player would you love the Lakers getting in the future to play alongside AD, if any? That's a good question. It's hard to say because a lot of these guys that play well over, I don't know if you're talking about from FIBA or just in general. So I'm just gonna kind of answer this two-part. It's like I said earlier, it's hard because some of these guys who play great in the FIBA setting don't necessarily play to that level in the NBA because the game is different. So if you're gonna say what type of player, you look at the players who really balled out there, and a lot of those guys can't really do that in the NBA outside of like Luka. So I'd probably say if it was going to be one, I'd probably say Luka. that would probably be my vote if I had between them. International man. Okay, got you. Brooks can go 1 for 10 and be down 20 and still mean mug everyone. Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's just trying to live up to a character at this point. He doesn't want to get out of character. He's kind of standing on that, and he's determined that that's how he's going to make a name for himself. And he feels, I don't know if he feels like, not to the extent of Rodman or anything like that, but I think he's feeling that if he can create media attention with his antics, he'll stay relevant. And so far it has worked for him. Backfires when you don't deliver, but at the same time, you keep your name out there, you stay relevant. I don't know how many teams, he signed a pretty decent contract there. So as far as him having to be, for a team that would want him to sign him, he already got that. So he got $80 million for acting a fool. So that only leads me to believe that he's going to act like an even bigger fool moving forward because he got paid for doing so. Hit Stick Stepper. Salute to you. Thank you for pulling up. Appreciate you. Hope you had a good NFL Sunday because I sure the hell didn't. I take Jokic over Luka. Yeah, but I would say to play with AD was the question. So if it was to play with AD, I'd probably want to guard. So if it was just overall, yeah, then I'd probably take Joker. But if it was which one to play with AD, I'd probably take Luka. Yeah. But again, but that would, like I said, it would be if it was the other way around. If it was just overall, I'd take Joker 10 out of 10. 80 for Giannis trade. No. And I don't even think that would even be like an option. The Lakers want to keep AD and sign Giannis. I don't believe Milwaukee will trade Giannis. I believe if the Lakers do get Giannis, it will be via free agency in 2026. I do not believe it will be via trade. Dylan Brooks is clout chaser, always trying to be a villain, but he's still trash as fuck. Yeah. He is a clout chaser, absolutely. But a lot of guys are in a lot of different ways. He just goes about it controversially. There are a lot of guys. Some of your favorite stars chase clout in many different ways, just not the way he does it. Which his is just obvious and it stands out and it rubs people the wrong way. And a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people just don't want to deal with it. And so, but he got paid to do so. So like I said, it's going to continue. For real, besides Edwards, which two USA FIBA guys would you take on the Lakers besides Edwards? Mikal Bridges. And let's see, obviously we have Austin. So I would say Mikal Bridges. Kel Bridges and Josh Hart. I think those would be two excellent. Kel Bridges probably a little bit slight than your average role player, but Josh Hart on this team would be great. AD with Giannis would be lights out. Yeah, absolutely lights out. I mean, imagine people trying to score at the rim on those two. Woof, good lord. Would the league allow that? Even the league would have no say in it. He's a free agent. He can pick what he wants. Lakers have cap space that year, and he picks them. He picks them. The league can't do a damn thing about it. No Tyrese. Oh yeah, you know what? I overthought that. But on this Laker team, so on this Laker team, when you have, I'm trying to use the question the way it was asked though. So if you're saying just overall, then yeah, probably I would take. It would probably be. And you said no, Ant. So I would probably say Halliburton and Bridges if it were those two. But for this team as currently constructed that would fit, I would still probably say Bridges and Josh Hart, just because Tyrese is a guy that's going to need 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes, and Josh Hart won't. We had Josh Hart before. Yeah, we did, but we had to cash him in to get AD. And Josh Hart is a guy, I'm telling you, Josh Hart is a guy that on a championship contending team can help you win a championship. Guys like that are very, very important. So I would love to have him on this team. Jeff, do you think we should sign Aaron Baines for insurance just in case our bigs go down? You talk about Aaron Baines. He used to play for the Celtics in Phoenix. Guy with the ponytail. Last I heard, he got hurt, right? And really hasn't been on the scene since. I think he popped up somewhere, but I'm not even sure if he's. I'm not even sure if he's able to play. To be honest, I don't know what his status is. Jeff, can you explain the super tax and the tax apron? Sure. Yes, I can. Let me load something up here real quick. So basically give me 1 second. So essentially what the super tax is and the tax apron. So there are two aprons, right? There is the luxury tax apron and there is the second apron. Once you hit that second apron, that is where a lot of these rules and these penalties kick in. A lot of them next summer, though. But for instance, so that's the second apron. The first tax apron for the luxury tax. So basically the salary cap maximum is basically about 136 million. Okay, it is pretty much where it is. Okay, now the hard cap, which is the Lakers are at because they use their exception, is at 172 million. And then the super tax apron is at 182 million, almost 183 million. Okay. So when you get into, let me load up where we have the luxury tax. The luxury tax is the first cap, where it's basically 165 million. So you have to spend the salary cap floor, and then the salary cap maximum is 136 million. And then the first apron, which is the luxury tax, is at 165 million. Okay. And then you have the second apron, which is at a little over 182 million. Once you go over that second apron, then a whole lot of different rules come into play and a whole lot of things go against you. So it's basically just levels of spending. It's almost like tax brackets. So you got the salary cap floor, then you got the salary cap, and then you've got the tax level, which is the first apron. And then you have the hard cap, which you are hard capped at if you use exemptions or you do certain particular type of trades. And then you have the super tax second apron, which is a little about 182 million. So there's just different tax brackets, just like with people who are employed by any, like people out there that make a certain amount of money and do this and that. There's different tax brackets. The NBA now has that too with the second apron. I love Hart's game, even rookie with the Lakers. Yeah, I really like Josh Hart. I think he can play on almost any team. A lot of those Villanova guys are really solid, and I think he can play on any team in the league. Okay, yeah. So Baines, last I heard, he had like a serious neck or spine injury, and he was out for a while. And I think he got picked up. I want to say by like a G League team or like an overseas. I'm not really sure, but I don't believe he played any NBA minutes last year, did he? And so I'm not even sure that he's capable of playing right now, or if he's ready to play right now. I haven't even heard his name being mentioned in literally in anything. So I don't know where he's at or what his situation is. But he was a good, solid player. He added that little jump shot to his game. He was tough. He was physical, strong. hustle guy. Like he was a solid player for the Celtics, and I believe then he got traded to Phoenix, and then I think he got traded again after that, or got picked up somewhere else, but then he got hurt, and he's been pretty much out the league ever since. And like I said, I haven't you mentioning him is like the first time I've heard his name in a long time. It's been a while. Hey Jeff, would you wait? Who do you think should get the backup two spot minutes? To me, it's going to be Max Christie, I believe. So I've got D'Lo and Reeves starting. I've got obviously Gabe Vincent backing up at the point guard, and I got Max Christie backing up at the shooting guard right now, depending how training camp goes. But that's who I have going right now. I think that Max Christie is poised to have I don't know if I want to say breakout year, but I might be comfortable with breakout year. But I think Max is going to have a very strong year. I think his development is going to prove his worth, and I think when they get to training camp, I think that you are going to hear his name a lot, because I think the Lakers are definitely excited about him. And from everything I've heard and understand, he's putting a lot of work. His body is maturing. He's putting the work in the weight room. He's putting the work in the film room. He's working a lot with Phil Handy and other assistants and developmental coaches. The coaching staff is very happy with him. They really like what they have in him, and they really hope he's a Laker for a long time. But he's going to have to show us something this year for sure. Definitely Christie, I agree. Yeah, that's who I think it'll be. Max looked great in summer league. He does, and that was going on. That was going to be about 3 months prior when you get into training camp. So like all that work he put in after summer league, it's all going to be paying off too. Stab says, what do you think Max stat line will look like? Like that, I don't know yet. I'm going to go that I'm going to say his minutes, I think, are going to be about 15 to 20 a game, probably closer to 15 probably. And if he's I think Max is going to be out there. He's going to be looking to play defense. He's going to look to help guard some wings. Hopefully he can hit some threes. And, if that's the case, if he's able to be out there and be a solid defender and get you like 5 to 7 points a game as your backup, then I think that would be a really good year for him, in my opinion, if he's efficient. Jeff, how's Don the Kingpin doing? Haven't seen him in a couple around the leagues with Dan. Don, as far as Don's doing good. I've talked to him a couple of times. I've told him, to pull up here whenever he wants to. I know Don works a lot, and he's shout out to Don, man. That's our brother over there. He's got his own show, Kingpin Talks podcast. So definitely check that out. I would assume that it's safe to say that you will see Don back very soon. I would probably say, the last couple around the league episodes we're kind of like on hiatus right now, so it's really not coming back until the league starts. We did the last one a little over a month and a half ago, and then just had like some random ones pop up when like the Christian Wood thing happened and the Kobe one. But outside of that, like we really haven't had one. And when it comes together, the other ones were scheduled. It was kind of more planned and put together. So I'm assuming it was just scheduling wise. It's definitely not anything outside of that. We all love Don. That's our brother. But I would definitely expect to see him back soon. But shout out to Don. It's always great to have him on he's to be on the same panel with him. And I look forward to having him on my show, as soon as he's able and available. That's my guy right there. I love Don. But thanks for checking on him. It's good to hear that people, speak his name and that they're looking for him, because Don is a great dude. So thank you for that. Max looks like his shooting might have improved, and I agree. His form looks like it's improved. The shot, like I said, it definitely was falling a little bit more, but again, his body has matured, and as your body matures and as you get stronger and even taller, you kind of, a lot of the guys who actually can shoot, and then their body gets kind of redefined, or they get stronger, and a lot of times their shot, they spend a while trying to recapture it, because their body is now changed and their strength has changed and their release points and a lot of things have to change because they're just stronger. And so a lot of that has to be kind of worked through a lot. I've seen a lot. When I was, like I said, I coached AAU ball for 10 years. And as some of these kids were growing and got stronger and their bodies were maturing, guys who could really shoot would struggle a little bit, or they would just, shoot from further to try to make up, for the difference there, until they found their rhythm and adjusted to their new body and new levels of strength. And then sometimes that could take a lot. And Christie's still young, so he's still got more growing and development to do physically. So there's going to be a couple of times where he's got to readjust to those things. And this summer was definitely probably one of them. Who do you think will be the odd man out in the Lakers? I'm afraid it will be Reddish and Hayes. So those are the two names that I have circled as well. But to be honest, I think Hayes is going to have more of a chance than Reddish will. I think Reddish, barring injury or Max really not playing well, I think Reddish is just on this team as a just in case and just to keep him as a spot in the league. But I wouldn't expect to see a ton of Cam Reddish unless he just wows them in training camp and preseason. And if Max struggles, but even if like Cam played really well and all this, and Max is playing decent, I still think the Lakers are higher on Max Christie and are more invested in his future than they are in Cam Reddish. But we will see. You should ball up with Dan one-on-one. You know what? I haven't played in a while. I really haven't played in a while, so I'd probably give the edge to Dan in that right now. I'd have to get out there for a couple of weeks and get my feel back. But yeah, that'd be kind of cool to get like a lot of YouTubers, a lot of dudes are even the around the league crew out there to play ball. That would be kind of cool. Like I said, I would need a little bit of time to get. And I haven't even touched the basketball in a while, so I got to get back out there, schedule wise and all that. So, and out here in Cali, like it's weird. I'm in the LA area, and this year was just really weird. Like we had rain literally for like 6.5 months. Like we never have to deal with that, but this year we did. So the weather was really bad. So a lot of people weren't playing ball a lot this year. So it was just a really crazy year for us. Like I said, I haven't touched a basketball in a while, but that would be kind of cool. Who do you think would go toe to toe with the Lakers, man? Are you talking about while playing ball, or like what do you mean playing ball? I don't know because I haven't really seen. I know Dan is out there in his community; he plays a lot, and I'm sure he can hoop. But I haven't seen anybody hoop. So I don't know how these guys play. So if that's what you're referring to, but that's what I mean. But I know Dan loves playing ball, and like Dan goes out. He goes out there, he plays with his family. Like it's a real family oriented. Like he likes to go out and hang out at the park and play with his family, and that's dope. You know what I mean? I love when I had time to do that. You know what I mean? So like I'm kind of jealous of that because that's a cool thing to do. Laker Familia, yo Jeff, you local to LA? Yeah. I'm about 10 minutes. Well, in LA, I want to say minutes. I'm gonna say probably about like I'm about like a 10, 15 miles outside of LA. But I'm in LA a lot. So, but yeah, I'm in based out of Southern California, but you could be 10 to 15 miles away, but it could be 2 hours depending on traffic. You know what I mean? So it's vicious out here. But yeah, I'm a Los Angeles citizen for sure. Playing ball, then yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't know. I've never seen any of these guys play, so I really don't know, and I don't want to assume, to be honest, because I don't want to, say what I haven't seen with my own eyes. And Laker Familia, thank you for pulling up. Appreciate the support as always, and thank you for pulling up. Let me see here. Hit up Dan and all the YouTube guys and ball off. It's fun for us to see. Yeah, maybe we will. That might not be a bad idea. I'll talk to the guys and see what they want to do. Like I said, everyone's scheduled, and a lot of people don't live in the same city, so it's tough. But I'll see if we can make that happen. Let me see. Jeff, I can never tell where the accent is from. It changes like every screen. You know what? It's funny. I was talking about that on one of the last streams. So technically, check it out. So look, like my half of my family is from New York. The other half of my family is from the Midwest, basically like Kansas City, right? But most of my life, I've been in LA. So when I'm in one grandparent's house, it's just straight up New York, and when I'm in another grandparent's house, it's just straight up Midwest, and then hip hop culture, and then LA slang, and it's just my dialect and the way I speak is all mumbled in, and I talk really fast, and I gotta work on that, especially on YouTube. But it depends. Like if I'm drunk or really excited, the New Yorker comes out in me. When I'm chill, kind of the Midwest or LA comes out in me. But yeah, you hit it on the head right there. And I've told people this probably a couple times that there'll be times where you're listening to me and you think I'm in New York, and there's times you listen to me and it's all over the place. So my dialect is really weird. I love it though, because like I said, I've got a lot of culture in me from different places and different areas, and I'm proud of that. But at the same time, it could really get confusing to people because they're like sometimes like people be thinking if I'm like faking, right? Or if am I like, do I really talk like this? Or am I really this? Or you talk like this yesterday. This one, you're like this. But that's just really what it is. It depends what my level of energy is, what type of mood I'm in, what I'm talking about, what my environment is. And if I've been hanging around a lot of East Coast people lately, then it just gradually just goes that way. You know what I mean? So that's really what it is. But you hit it on the head. You hear a lot of streams where I will be sounding different. It's just weird. Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm basically that's where I am. My family is from Brooklyn. So um and and it does come out more and more, especially like on these YouTube streams that seem to come out more and more on here. Um I'm from NY. I know. Yeah. What part of NY you from, Dante? What part? And when I say Brooklyn, I'm talking about Red Hook, Brooklyn. When coaching, who are you similar to? The Confield Jackson whistle type of coach, or you like the Bobby Knight throwing chair types of coach? No, I was very so. Look, I had agreement with my players. Like we don't give away free points, so I don't get texts. They don't give texts, right? I was a very I was very respectful to the refs. I was very respectful to the other team and coaches. I was passionate, very passionate, and if I had a point to make, believe me, I've made it. But I wanted my team to learn from me and stay calm under pressure and not freak out and not act a fool out there. And just because things didn't go your way, embrace the challenge and work through it and fight through it and rise above it. So I was kind of a coach that I just focused on the game plan. I focused on the task in hand. I focused on my team. And that's just kind of what I did. I had a bunch of young men there that I wanted to teach how to play the game the right way. And I wanted them to have like good mentalities. And I wanted them to be like, some of my kids were getting watched by college scouts. So I wanted to make sure that they were professional about the way they played. And I wanted them to present themselves as someone that if they were fortunate enough to go to college, that these college coaches would want them as part of their team and part of their culture. So it was very important to me and to their parents to lead by example and kind of prepare them for that. So that's kind of how I was. I feel like I ran a very good program. And I feel like I had a lot of great kids and a lot of great chemistry. And a lot of the kids I had, we rose up from like second grade level all the way up to their senior year in high school. So as I rose, they rose. So like when every time they went into a new bracket, I moved up in coaching. So I had the same group of kids, majority of over a 10-year run. So there were some kids that came and went, obviously, but as far as the core. And I had a lot of guys and girls. I had some girls on my guys team, and believe it or not, one of the girls that played on my team ended up was Lola Bunny in Space Jam 2. So shout out to Cookie. The team, that's kind of where I coach, man. I like to teach it. We were run and gun. We were really fast, and it was a really fun style to play with. But thanks for the question. What's Kurt? How you doing? Thank you for pulling up. Hope you had a much better football Sunday than me. Good God, we got whacked today. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Yes, sir. Exactly. Good to have you here, Kurt. Definitely hear an NYC accent. Yeah, KD, I'm telling you, you'll be hearing it from time to time for sure. Oh, Southside Jamaica Queens. You heard me? Yeah. Family from East New York. Okay. Southside Jamaica Queens. Shout out 50 Cent neighborhood in the building. Yeah, Southside Jamaica Queens is no joke, man. It's no joke, man. Know that for a fact. I got some people's out there too, and all pockets in New York, man. Like even in the nicest parts of New York, the most expensive places to live in the country. You come down from that elevator, walk out on that street, you got to be careful. So you got to watch your ass in New York, man. You know what I mean? Be careful. And it's always good to have another New Yorker in here on an LA Laker channel. That's what's up, Dante. Appreciate you. Let's see. I could see Jeff pulling Jason Kidd coaching me, dropping the drink on the floor for a free time. No, man. No, I don't disrespect the game. No, now me as a player, when I played ball when I was younger, man, I did some crazy stuff, man. I did some disrespectful stuff, and I learned from my ways. I was I was a gritty defender. I really like to defend. I like to rebound. I love to get assists. And sometimes, I was going against guys sometimes that were 5-6 inches taller than me, easy. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get minutes, right? So I did some crazy stuff in high school, man. Some stuff I'm not necessarily proud of, but it's funny now. But I would never let any of the kids I coach get away with some of the dumb shit I did. And I learned from my experiences. And I had some knee injuries and some things that kind of racked up and what led me to coaching, me getting hurt. Then I love the game so much. I just wanted to be around it. And it just led me to coaching and legit probably saved my life, man, because I had some great kids and some great families I worked with. And, I had a reason to stay out of trouble because of them and, worked out for both sides. And, I feel like a lot of times though they give me more credit than I deserve because they saved me as much as I saved them, technically. So those kids literally saved my life for real. Don't lie, Jeff. You're Steve Kerr 2.0. You coach small ball. No, I'm not gonna lie. I did have to coach small ball because I didn't where I live. There's not a bunch of super tall ass people. You know what I mean? So I did do small ball, but it wasn't necessarily as a strategy. It was just because those are the players I had. And then once we started getting out there, my team got noticed, and we kind of made a name for ourselves. Then I had some players that wanted to come play for me and us, and I got some height and I got some size. And then, we could switch up and we adapted to it. But out the gate, we were straight like Phoenix Sun style, just running gun, pulling up from threes and just going crazy. Press defense and just sweating people. Then when I got some bigs, I adjusted. And then, we went from there. Da, 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 da. Chris is right. Always good vibes. You're right, Jeff. Lakers been very strategic with social media. Yeah, I'm telling you. Like, if you look at the pictures that they're posting, it's all about the work that these players are putting in, and they're showing angles that shows the development of their body from weight training. So the Lakers are giving you a hint that these guys are working out together every day, and they're putting in the work, and they're showing their development. Hey, what's going on? Empire TV's own NGB. How you doing? Your team won today. Mine got killed, so at least you had a good day. Mine sucked until now when I got here to chill with y'all. So at least I got that. Like a Familia, you think OKC might be a sleeper team this season, which with with Shay Chet and the rest of the team. Which yeah, I mean, I kind of been saying like on around the league, that's kind of always my pick as a sleeper team is OKC. I think OKC has a chance to maybe win a playoff round this year, because they're good. They play hard. They got a good culture. They're well coached. They got a great GM who can make some moves if they need to. They got a ton of draft picks. I think OKC not only is a sleeper team for wins and in the playoffs, but I also think they're a sleeper team to potentially get a star if one is moved because they've got some really good players over there. They've got a ton of draft picks. They got one of the best GMs in the league, and their position. So I think the future is pretty bright for OKC. And I like watching OKC. I watched a lot of their games the last couple of years, and I'm going to continue to watch them. They're very fun to watch. And then, they're kind of homegrown team, and they super fleece the Clippers, which I love. And I think they're going to have a really great season next year. And I absolutely think that they're a sleeper team for sure. Yeah. Keep up the great work, bro. Hit the like button. Thank you, Big Baby Sports. Appreciate you. I'm going to try to keep up this good work and keep it going. Keep making y'all proud. But shout out to Big Baby Sports. Make sure to go check out his channel, especially that interview with Mrs. Jeannie Buss, which is amazing. You got that interview, so go check that out and support Big Baby over there. Appreciate you pulling up, Big Baby. Big Baby. See, so let me catch up to some of these chats. Sorry, I'm trying to answer all these questions for y'all. I think I see you like a Jerry Sloan, old school tough coach that knows his X's and O's. I have some of that in me. I'm a players coach. I'm kind of like, I've got a mix of a lot of different guys by coaching styles in me, but I'm a motivator. I get kids to push it to the limit. I get kids to really I get my teams to really play for each other, whether they're on the bench or in the game, or they're injured and still sitting there. Like, even if someone had bad grades and couldn't play, like, make sure they still came along. They were still part of the entire process. If anything happened, like, you were part of the team. If you were part of the team, you were part of the team. And for any reason you had to leave the team that was outside of your control, I still made sure that person felt like they were part of the team. And I feel that's how you build a team. But my style was I was pretty, like I said, I was pretty laid back, you know what I mean? Because I had a really good group of kids. I had them for 10 years. So the trust factor was extremely strong. They knew what to expect from me. They knew what I expected from them. And it was a really good, like, long-term relationship between all of us and the families and the assistant coaches and all the leagues we played in and all those other coaches. So we had a lot of continuity and trust. And that goes a long way when you're running a team, especially with younger kids. Yeah, everyone's good. I'm good, Big Baby. I'm good. And everyone in the chat seems like they're having it looks like a lot of people's teams won but me. You know what I mean? So, Sammy the Man, what's good with you? Hope you're having a good night, man. Hope you're having a good night. Thanks for pulling up. Salute to you. Let's see. Oh, yeah, the Charger game was crazy, man. That was a great game, though. That was like a PlayStation game. I saw it coming, though, man. It seemed like the Chargers always do that, man. Their defense was just The defense was horrific. But Tyreek Hill is a cheat code, man. Watching him is just like watching PlayStation, man. He is a beast. We might, I like Patrick Mahomes and I like the Chiefs, but keeping those two together might have meant like a three-peat in the NFL. Those two, man, that is just crazy. But Tyreek Hill and Tua, those dudes were just crazy today and just racking up points, man. Go Pack, go! Yeah, they look good today. They look good today, and they have a chance to win some games this year. Good win for the Raiders. I was worried Jimmy G for a moment. My Bears lost. Yeah, when Jimmy G went down, right before they scored that touchdown, the game was crazy to start that Raider game. The whole from the kickoff, everything that started that game was crazy. Ending was too. Let's see. Jimmy G showed some heart. Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, man, but the Chargers just kept getting pushed back, and in that sequence, it's like Miami's defense stopped them. I was just like, man, the Chargers defense just couldn't get anything going. I like they've got too good of a quarterback to they've got to figure out what's going on with that defense because that's gonna be a problem. What's good, D Sammy here? Let's see. If you had to root for one of these two teams, who would you root for? Oh man. I can't. I will say this. I don't know if I can answer your question the way you asked it because I don't think I could actively root for either one of them. But I respect the Boston Celtic, history. The Clippers have no history. So as far as like, I would never root for one, but and I don't hate. I want to be clear. I don't hate either team, just for the simple fact because I value competition. I value legacies, and I don't know if the Lakers are what they are without the Celtics, and vice versa. And I don't hate the Celtics. I hate losing to them, and I love beating them. But outside of that, I appreciate what they've done for the league. I appreciate the rivalry with the Lakers. They've had some great players over there. So, like I said, I know Laker fans in general program to hate the Celtics. But in the spirit of competition, I get it. But that's a franchise I respect, and that is a legacy and a tradition that I respect. And I will never root technically for either one of them, but I respect Boston definitely. Not that I disrespect the Clippers. I just don't think there's anything you have to really like respect about them. They haven't done anything. Kurt says, if Harden doesn't go to the Clippers or stay pat, where do you think he can go? I kind of had a sleeper idea that I threw out there, and I really think this is more possible than people think or want to believe that is true. But I think that if that Chris Paul situation doesn't work out, and if Philly doesn't have a deal they like, and they really don't have anything to do, and Joel Embiid is just over there and Harden's not playing, and they need a guy that can help them, then I think that maybe a Chris Paul for James Harden swap could happen. One, it would solve a need that Philly needs, is someone who can play and help them win games and just get rid of Harden at that point if there's nothing really out there. And for the Warriors, it pretty much is the same thing because the money is pretty much the same thing. It's an expiring contract, which is the same thing. And, it basically is almost the same thing. So I could see that potentially happening. I know it might sound crazy off top, but I think it's more possible than people think. But that's not something that's going to happen until we see how CP3 looks with the Warriors. Yes, he did. Baby did have her on the show. Low Lakers over everything. What's good? What's good? What's good? Salute, brother. Finally caught you live. Just sent you something to your Cash App. Just stopping by to show love on this. Oh, appreciate you. Yeah. Thank you. I get people that keep asking me, when are you going to get your super chats? And I'm like, I'm just not there yet. You know what I mean? Like I'm still new. I don't got that subscriber count or the watch hours count yet. So please help your boy out. Like, subscribe. Tell your friends about me. But right now I don't have the ability to do super chat. So right now it is the Cash App, the $ Empire Jeff. So for those who were asking how to donate, you can donate there. If you don't, it's perfectly fine. Obviously, I don't necessarily do that for this. You know what I mean? But people had asked, and I went a few episodes, and they said, put your Cash App on the screen so we can donate. So I started doing that. So appreciate to everyone, including yourself, Lo, who has donated. Yeah, again, you do not have to be part of this community. But at the same time, I do appreciate everyone that did. And again, I did this because people were asking me. But as soon as I get to those counts, then we'll be able to do super chats and stuff like that. But even then, it's no pressure. We just here to talk ball. You know what I mean? But appreciate you, Lo. Thank you so much. I got my phone on my other desk over here, so I'm not looking at it. I got ADD. It'll distract me. But I appreciate y'all. Check that as soon as I get off. And thank you so much. And good to see you had a safe trip back. And thank you for pulling up to catch the live. I appreciate you, brother. And for those who haven't already, make sure you go over to Lakers Over Everything. He's got a great show over there. He's a real good dude, real fun listen, very smart, very knowledgeable, and entertaining. Good member of the Laker family, of content creators out here. He also has a wrestling channel, which is a pretty big one. So make sure to check out Low. Good dude over there with great content. And once again, thank you, brother. Katie, Dame is full of, but he's still getting traded. It's less than a month from preseason. Dude is full of shit. Yeah. I think that there's a chance that I think the likelihood. Sorry, my puppy's going bananas over here. I think there's a greater chance that Dame gets traded prior to training camp than it is that Harden does. So yes, I think there absolutely is a chance. I don't know where. I know, of course, Miami wants him. Portland doesn't seem inclined to want to send him there as of yet, but that still could happen. I don't know if a sleeper team will come out of nowhere. But I think that there's a chance that Dame does get traded before training camp and before preseason. I do think so. Let's see. Trying to catch up here, guys. Oh, nice. You got some cooking with Stephen A. Dope. I see you be pulling up on his show. That was hilarious when you pulled up on him. So yeah, keep chasing him, man. Keep going after him. Anyone can get on your show, the better. You know what I mean? So that's dope. Keep pushing him. My favorite pizza, New York pizza. Chicago pizza is good too, but New York pizza is my favorite pizza. Just I prefer it. I can eat more than one slice, and I feel like I'm gonna die and be full because Chicago is crazy. Chicago is good, but that joint is more like a sandwich. It's just big, right? I love me a good New York slice, and anyone that ever goes to New York and you run up to Times Square, make sure you go to John's of Times Square. Very, very, very good pizza. There's also a John of Bleecher Street, which is very good. But John's Times Square pizza, that's my favorite in New York. Bomb as can be. Make sure to get a pepperoni pie from them. And trust me. It's definitely worth it. DJ, what up? Lakers of 5. Thank you for pulling up. Make sure to go check out DJ's channel, of course. Sure, most of you guys already follow him, but great dude over there. Great contact, great stream, great shows. Always a pleasure to have you on, DJ. Hope you're having a good night, man. I hope your football team won today. And we're getting closer, man. We're getting closer to Lakers basketball. We're approaching a couple of weeks away from training camp. It's starting to get excited here. Everybody's showing DJ some love. That's what's up. CP3's whining would fit in well with Embiid's whining. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's something that could happen. You know, because if both teams get stuck. If Philly doesn't have a trade partner for Harden and they just want to get rid of him if he's causing a distraction, and if it doesn't work out with the Warriors with CP3, then that's a natural trading partner that can solve both teams' problems. And I think it could happen. Obviously not ideal for Philly, but at the end of the day, like if there's nothing else out there that's going to work, do you want a bunch of guys that you have to pay longer term that you get from the Clippers and don't necessarily make you any better, and they're on your cap for a little bit longer, or do you want someone who can come off your books and isn't a distraction? I think it's favorite food in LA or favorite pizza in LA. If it's favorite food in LA, it's Mexican food. My favorite pizza in LA. I don't know if I have a favorite pizza in LA, to be honest with you. Like Grimaldi's is good. I don't like any like the Domino's or Pizza Hut stuff. Like any place that has commercials, I really don't like the pizza. Any like mom and pop spot. There's a couple spots. I heard that I gotta try Prince Street Pizza. I haven't had it, but I heard it's really good. Apollonia's is good. There's a place out like Hollywood and LA. It's called a Secret Pizza. It's not like a restaurant. They make it out of like their house, and you got to order on the app and go pick it up. That's fire. But there's not a ton of great pizza places in LA, because you got to understand what makes the pizza great in New York is the water. So it's even the companies out here that bring the water out here, like it's so expensive to do it, and they just eventually stop doing it. So it's like you can have people that make really good pizza, but it's the water, like the dough and everything over there. So it's not the same over here. So CP3 finishing season with Warriors then? Well, that I don't know. Like I said, we got to see how that looks and how they fit. And does he stay a starter? And if he doesn't, is he going to be happy coming off the bench? And then if not, and Harden's still in Philly, does that move happen? But I think there's a chance. CP3, I think he wants it to work and be professional. But sometimes pieces don't fit. Look what happened with Westbrook. You know what I mean? It just might not fit. Tacos, best food in LA. Yeah, man. And there's so many options. I walk out my door, I go left, get tacos. I go right and get tacos. You can get everywhere around here. Just you can smell it in the air. It's like part of the ozone out here, man. Yeah, appreciate you too, love. Appreciate you. You're always showing love to me. So it's mandatory that I reciprocate. You know what I mean? Wait, why you keep saying Dame ain't? And I don't know the reason. No, I didn't say he ain't. I just said he's full of it. So it's because my whole thing behind that is Dame is kind of giving up this persona about his loyalty and loyal to the soil and don't run from the grind and this and this and that. And my personal opinion on that, while I'm sure there's some truth in that, Dame's objective to me, and I love Dame. Dame has been one of my favorite non-Lakers, if not my favorite non-Laker for a very long time. So this is coming from a place of someone that really loves Dame's game, and I love watching Dame play, especially in the playoffs. I love Dame, but at the end of the day, he's also a master. Like he's smart when it comes to manipulation and his marketing of himself. So Dame clearly was determined to get every cent he possibly could on every type of supermax, get his own personal legacy and stats, his own name and all this, and have no pressure and no blame when he loses games, right? But still get paid like a top 5 player in the league and put up all these stats that weren't really leading to anything special, like victory wise, right? But at the end of the day, like that's all he's going to be because he never got out of there. He never took a little less to go somewhere else. He could have got a max deal from someone, but he wanted super max, so he stayed in Portland. And at the end of the day, as soon as he got his final super max deal, to where Portland can literally offer him no more, now he's like, okay, now I want out. And that's what I mean by he's full of shit, because now it's like you're not really loyal because you've been having this plan probably for a while. You should have requested a trade years ago or left via free agency if you were chasing the trophy. It was never going to happen in Portland, and it never will. He knows that. Everyone else knows that. So that's what makes him full of shit, to be honest. Question from Low. Would you in the chat want AD playing in Paris next summer? They desperately need him, but I don't know, bro. Need him to stay at home and rest. I will say this. If the Lakers go on a long playoff run, then no, I do not want AD playing on there. And hopefully they do go on a long playoff run. So I'm going to assume they are, and I want to speak that into existence. But you know what? I'm going to say no. I don't want AD risking any type of long-term injury. We just signed him to an extension. I'm gonna say no. I think AD needs to leave that alone. He needs to be in LA, work on his conditioning, work on his his body here, and not go over there and risk any type of injury. So that's my vote. The chat can have their own, but that's just me. I wouldn't want him to do it. Chicago for me, but yeah, Giordano's is bomb. I love Chicago's. I really, really do. But when I get pizza, man, I want to have me a few slices, man. And that Chicago one, that just takes me down, man. I just get so full and I'm down for hours. But it is very, very good. Very good. They're different. They're both called pizza, but they're nothing the same. They're nothing alike. They're both very good. Chi-Town, stand up. I love me so. Yeah. Chicago's amazing. It's an amazing city. If you've never been there, Chicago's great. I'm gonna go check that out. Yeah, exactly. Chicago pizza is like a casserole. It's like a sandwich. It's a legitimate up high. You know what I mean? Like it is it's a lot of food, man. And that's why you can get a pie, like share it amongst everyone. And that only takes like 45 minutes to make. Like if you starve and you walk into a place you want to order something, I'll go like, give me 45 minutes to an hour, and you're already sitting down. And I can just walk up and grab me a slice and a slice and a Coke and like just be good. Man, give me NYC pie any day. Yeah, it looks like everyone's saying I want 80 to rest. Never tried Chicago or NY. What? Oh, maybe you've never been to either. That's why. So, Search, I'm not sure what city you're in, but I will say this. Chicago pizza is easier to make in other cities than Chicago if you got someone from Chicago that knows what they're doing. The New York style pizza is hard to make outside of New York because of the water, and a lot of people don't put the stuff on the bottom of the dough. It's a shit show, man. They don't know what they're doing in a lot of the places. Chicago tavern style is good too. Chicago tavern style is good. They do have different styles in Chicago. That is true. That is true. But and again, I love both. I really do love both. It's just a preference for me. It's just a preference. Maybe it's just because of nostalgia, but that's it for me. Yeah, and they got some really good Chicago pizza spots in Vegas. They're bringing some out here to LA, and They got some really good ones for real. Chicago pizza is very good. Straw Hat Pizza, yeah. California, no man. California Pizza Kitchen is cool. It's cool, but it's like okay, so it's like PF Chang's is good, but it's not like real Chinese food, right? It's good, but it's not. Or you go to but it is good, man. California Pizza is good. For pizza, I prefer something like Sabaros. Man. Man. Not even for your country. I hear you though. I mean, if you're talking about not for your country for AD, but our country is like a nation, and we need AD healthy. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can go to Chicago. Not just the pizza, the pasta, the sandwiches, like just in general. That's really good food out there. What's in the water? It's not necessarily what's it's a good question, but it's just like the Atlantic, it's just the water from out there. It's just different. Everything is just different. Like Chinese food in New York is so different than Chinese food anywhere else in the country. It's just not the same. Like bagels, just totally different. They're just way better out there. Sandwiches, like the delis in New York. Oh God, now this is you guys are gonna make me go on a food path here, and I can be on here another 2 hours talking about this. I got to be careful. You know what I mean? What's in the water? He said. Let me see. Man, I'm trying to catch everything here. Tacos everywhere are so good. Facts. Dame is selfish as hell. I believe so. I think so. I love Dame, but I think he's full of it. I really do. Really, really do. Dame torched us last year, and he could torch us again this year. But at the end of the day, don't mean he's less full of it, right? Did you see Djokovic wearing the Mamba t-shirt after winning U.S. Open today? Yes, I did, and I love that everyone keeps that mentality and Kobe's name and his reputation and just kind of keeps him alive. And that's what we want to keep going, keep seeing. Thanks for that information, Jeff. Dame time is on pause, I guess. Yeah, Dame time should have been a few years ago. You know what, Dante? If you want to go back some of my videos I have, if you go back there, it wasn't a live stream. It was like a 10-minute episode where I said that Dame is to blame for the situation in Portland. Check out that video. It's like 10 minutes long. I ripped the city of Portland a little bit, but it's a good little 10-minute listen, and it kind of breaks that stuff down. Go to take a listen to that. I think that's a better recap and explain of what I just talked about right now. Like I said, it's only about 10 minutes. Check that out. There's that one, and then the James Harden pizza party. Check that one out because that one's hilarious. So those are two ones to really catch and see some of this stuff. I don't want AD in Paris because they're extremely physical out there. Yeah, like I said, the game is different when you play in FIBA, man. Like the run and gun, the finesse game, the big shooting threes. Like it's a different game. That's why a lot of those guys, and that's why Yugoslavia and Spain just continue to dominate that league, is because they play basketball the way the USA used to play basketball, and the USA don't play that type of basketball no more. So when they go out there, these teams who execute, who run sets, who are well coached, that's why the USA has only won this thing 5 times since 1950 when it comes to FIBA, because they just don't play that type of game. Get into NY ASAP. Yeah, for sure. Search, you got to get to New York City, man. Trust me. I'm telling you, John's at Times Square. You're welcome. Young Africa, what's going on, my guy? Hope everything is well with you. What's going on with you, man? What's going on? What do you think of curious to think what you thought about my topic, the video I did last night of if you think that Austin Reeves is a liability on defense or not. I know we kind of talked about that, but I kind of broke down the video of a couple of things of saying like how he was part of the best defensive team in the league post trade deadline and then playoffs. And, I just kind of wanted to, and I broke down about 28 other names that are on that list who scored, above 13 points, like pretty much what he averages, and has defensive ratings in his range. And he has, the highest effective field goal percentage of any of those guys. And there's a lot of pretty good names on that list that aren't bashed as much as he is when it comes to defense, which I thought was interesting. Been at the airport a few times. Yeah, not the same. You're not going to get good New York pizza in whether you're at LaGuardia or whether you're at oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Whether you're at LaGuardia or whether you're at whether you fly into a JFK in the Queens. How I went blank there. Katie said, "What Laker games are you looking forward to watch? Phoenix opening night, Christmas Day, the Celtics. What? All of them. I want to see all of them. But yeah, Christmas Day versus the Celtics is going to be dope. We haven't had that since I want to say 2009 maybe or 2008. I think 2008 was the last time we had that. So that'd be super dope. And it's here. And we got those punk ass leprechauns in our building. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to see Braun versus KD. We haven't seen that for a while. I'm looking forward to see the Lakers versus Denver. I think the Clippers I think that this Laker team roster is built better to sounds weird, but built better to actually beat the Clippers this year in the regular season. So I'm looking forward to us kind of giving it back to them finally. So there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to. I'm just looking forward to Laker basketball. I just want to see some basketball. I want to see some good Laker basketball, exciting Laker basketball. That's what I'm excited for. Jeff, bro, I got to take you to Chico's Pizza and live with best pizza in Cali. Oh, word? Okay, let's make it happen. Maybe we'll do a show from there, huh? Let's do it. Talking basketball, eating, getting pizza grease all over everything. Let's just do it. I love me some pizza, man, for sure. LA even got Taco de Muerte. Yeah, LA got everything, man. LA got everything. NBA rules emphasize more offense, ISO plays. Yeah, for real, Bloodhound, for real. Monday night, Jets, just a reminder. Who do the Jets play tomorrow? And it's 9/11 too. So it's like, it's Buffalo, I think, right? So you got two New York teams, upstate New York versus the Jets. So that's gonna be dope. That'll be dope. I'll check that out for sure. When you drop in the vid of possible future Lakers, I peeped you mentioning it while I was listening on the plane. I'm ready for that one. I've got it ready. I was torn between doing a live or a pre-recorded, and I'm probably gonna do a live for that one. My schedule was kind of crazy, and I didn't have a bunch of lives planned out. But I've pretty much been live every day since Wednesday, so I'm kind of finding a groove and a rhythm here. So I'm probably gonna make it a live, and probably next week. But keep in mind that when I was talking about the vid of possible future Lakers, it is contingent on if some of these guys work out or not. So I want to be clear about that. But I have a feeling I know the trade package that the Lakers are going to go after in the event that D'Lo or Christian Wood doesn't work. I think I know what it is, and I'll get you guys that this week. I didn't want to do it prematurely, and I didn't want to come off as being clickbait. Because a lot of people do that in the summer, I don't want to come off with that, but I think it's a legitimate chance, and I will make my argument for it as to why. So I'm telling, trust me, I'm not BSing you. I would say he is bad as D'Lo, but Reeves is an average defender, but his effort is high. He has below average athleticism and wingspan that hurts him. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But I agree with you 100%. But my argument is that if Vando and AD are in your starting lineup like they were in like post-trade deadline and in the playoffs, you can overcome it. So like I said, he was part of the starting lineup that had the best defense in the league post-trade deadline. So I definitely think they can do it. They're going to, I think, teams, because his narrative out here, I think he will get attacked more because his name is out there more. He got paid. But like I said, I look for him to get better at that. I look at the Lakers to come up with kind of some schemes to kind of help him with that. And I don't think it's not like he's Steph out there that people are saying in Africa. What I was saying was yesterday, and tell me if you think I'm correct with this. I think people have the definition of hunting people out on defense completely wrong, right? So if you're guarding the other team's best player, he's 3 or 4 inches taller than you, and the guy's giving you that work, he's just giving you that work, but you're taking the challenge. Now, if Austin was on the other side of the court and they were going to that side, running screen and running plays to get them to switch to then seek Austin out, to then hunt him out, that's hunting someone out who's hiding, right? Austin never hid. So teams didn't hunt him out on defense, right? So I think that was a false narrative. So I think people got the terminology of hunting out on defense incorrectly, because that's not what it was. Now, they hunted out Halliburton and Brunson. They did do that, but they weren't hunting out Austin Reeves. He was accepting the challenge, and he wasn't good enough to complete the challenge defensively, but he had the will and the energy and the effort to do so. Let me see here. Does MIC have a more diverse cuisine than LA? Oh yeah. Now, put it. I mean, New York is one big melting pot, man. It's got so many cultures out there and so many different cuisines and so much good food and good people and stories that come along with the food too. Some of them are something you can only get in New York City from maybe a couple of families that it's just not made out here, right? So in New York, you can get some stuff you never heard of, never saw, that you'll love. Trust me for that. I'm watching the Jets and my Raiders. The Raiders had a good day today. Reeves' offense so valuable, it's on the coach's scheme around that. Thank you, Africa. That's exactly my point. See, like minds think alike as usual. Reeves' weakness is POA defense because he's not as quick, but his recovery is elite and he's stable, able to attest shots from behind without fouling. Yes, that's important too. Yeah, I figured you would agree, because I just think, man, these people just got weird weird narratives, man, as they do with Braun, as they do with Call. Just they get to this narrative, and like I said, there's a lot of jealousy over Austin Reeves, this undrafted guy that got paid. Like it's just so much jealousy, and it's probably because he plays with Braun and he's a Laker, but it's getting over the top now. It's crazy. Like I don't hear anyone like demolishing Tyler Hero for his defense. I don't hear anyone just destroying Halliburton for his defense, Brunson for his defense, like De'Aaron Fox for his defense, Malik Monk for his defense. These are all guys on that list that are in the same defensive rating range as Austin Reeves. And none of those guys are getting bashed as much as Austin Reeves are. And it's crazy. But again, I will say this. If Austin Reeves is the second or third best player on a national team, then that national team has got problems somewhere. That's not his role. He plays off of stars. He's not supposed to be one. I think Reeves improves his defense because he has a high IQ and consistently adapts. Facts. I agree 100%. Chopped cheese from the okay, so that's a funny story there. So yeah, chopped cheese from the Ak, and shout out he in Red Hook. So Ak is cool. I never had I never been, had one of his chopped cheeses, but he's not the original. He is not the original. He definitely flipped that though. He definitely remixed it and made his own vibe. Definitely did, but he's not the original. But get yourself a New York chopped cheese if you're out there for sure. For sure. Incredible. More like search him out as opposed to hunting him out. But like Prime says, Reeves ain't hard to find. Play with him if you want to. Yep. Yeah, I just think the narrative and it just seems like a lot of Warriors fans are coming for him, right? Just weird. Super weird. Considering Steph hides like a criminal, like a bandit, like a bank robber who escaped, and the helicopter's up and the hounds are out. Steph hides like crazy on defense, and they search him out. You know what I mean? But they won't talk about their own guy like that. And I love Steph. But come on, leave Austin alone, man. There's a lot of great offensive players in the NBA with average defense. Gotta live with it. And modern NBA is more about team defense than one-on-one lockdown. Shout out to Drew Holiday versus Jimmy. But yeah, facts. No, like well, again, 100% agree. But it's always like Africa. It's always those throwback players, though, right? It's not the new wave, a new age type of player that really brings that type of game to it. Like Mikal Bridges was nice, but now that he's got a taste of some offensive scoring, like Miles Turner's was an elite shot blocker, then he got a little taste of scoring. So these guys like get to eat first on some teams now, or get to rock more, get shooting opportunities. Their defense dips, right? So a lot of guys made their way in this league defensively because they weren't a first or second option on offense initially when they came into the league. So then they went out and they developed this skill to stay in the league, and then their offensive game developed, and that's what happened. So a lot of those throwback players like a Jrue Holiday, who literally like played high school ball 10 minutes from me. I've watched Jrue play since he was 12 years old. Shout out to him, played against him, coached against him, and his brothers, plural. So I watched him play for a long time, and he's always had that throwback game. Shout out to his pops and mom. Like they installed that in him and his coaches. But like those guys came in the league like with that, right? Especially Jimmy. Jimmy had to grind. So that's kind of what it was. But it's like, and then when their offensive game evolved, then it's okay. They were a two-way player at that point, right? Dre Jones, salute to you, man. Appreciate you. Always catch you, and it's always good chopping it up with you on other panels. Happy to have you in the building. Thank you for pulling up, brother. Appreciate you. Hope to see you around more. Original chopped cheese is in Harlem. Yep, that's what I'm trying to say. Like Aki flipped it. He did his thing. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the original. I'm not knocking him. I heard it's very good. He came out here. It's funny because he was promoting. He was to come out here, a city in a little outside of LA, Burbank. And he was promoting it. I kept telling people it's not going to be the same because he doesn't have his store with him. You know what I mean? These guys are going up to his store, doing all this random stuff and saying, "Let me get this with this, the Aki way." But when he came out here, it's like, "Can I just get it the Aki way?" And it's like 4 options. Like it's not what made him him. He can't do any of his customizations or anything crazy. You know what I mean? So when he goes on these tours, it's not the same because he doesn't have his whole access to his entire store where he's got all these different options. Delis are always the best in NYC. Man, Cats Deli is goated, just absolutely goated. If you're in New York City, get yourself over there to Cats and get yourself the best pastrami in the world. I know LA loves their pastrami. Don't get me wrong. So LA folks, don't come at me, please. I love LA pastrami, and pastrami is serious in LA. I get it, but it is not the same as the pastrami's from Cats. Trust your boy. Cats with a K. Trust me. AR Tough has great mentality. I'm sure none of the media talk affects him. Well, the funny thing is the media loves him. The media isn't bashing him. It's like Twitter and YouTube, right? That's really going after him. Any like any legitimate person who covers the NBA, like they've been saying all tournament, how did another team not offer him $100 million? Like they've been actively saying, how did the Spurs not offer him more money? How did the Rockets not go after him as opposed to Van Vliet or Dylan Brooks? How did another team not offer him more money? So the national media is actually like bigging up Austin Reeves. The coaches love Austin Reeves. NBA execs love Austin Reeves. The NBA players love Austin Reeves. If you listen to the way that the guys on that team were talking about it, right? So listening to Ant-Man and Miles Bridges and all these guys that were like really talking about him in a positive light. So that's why I don't think any of this will affect him, because the people that matter and the opinions that matter all love him. That's a fact. I had an Aki chopped cheese this weekend. Oh, word? Oh, nice. Did you get a video of that? Did you document that? And yo, okay. Low. If you had an Aki chopped cheese this weekend, that's cool. That's great. Now you got to tell us what it was. What did you have to put it on? What was thrown together? What concoction did you come up here? The people want to know. People want to know for sure. Let's see. Here we go. Salute the DJ. Let's see here. Bridges got cooked by shading the FIBA game, and he's a great defender. It was the cost of it was because of the weak team defense. Yeah, it's just a different game over there, Africa. And we got a lot of normal usual suspects in the room. Let me wasn't gonna do this today, but let me do this. Let me drop the link, because I got a lot of dudes I like talking basketball within the same building at the same damn time. What am I doing, Jeffrey? Come on, get your shit together. The New York Football Giants lost, and it got me in a rut here. Africa, DJ, Dre, y'all pull up, man. And who else? Pull up. If you guys got some time, pull up. Let's talk about it. Let me run through some of these rest of these questions real quick. I've only seen videos of Deli's chopped cheese. Looks amazing. It's amazing. And you can make a chopped cheese out here. Just a lot of people just don't. But a chopped cheese is great. And it's always best, like people try to do like the raw ground. I mean, get yourself a frozen patty, throw it in the grill, stop chopping that thing up as it defrosts on the grill, and go about it that way. Johnny's in Culver City, best pastrami. Johnny pastrami, is that what you're talking about? Johnny's is good. Earl's on Crenshaw is good. There's the Hat is amazing. My God, LA's got so many good pastrami spots. It's not even funny, but trust me, it's not Cats. Oh, no, it's not Cats. And actually, Cats, you could, I know it sounds funny, but it's actually good. You can order Cats from like, what's that service that you can order from? Goldbelly? You can order, or even on their site, Cats, Katz. And they'll ship it out, and you get it like the next day. They put it like dry ice in there, and it's not the exact same as being there, but it's good enough. And trust me, fire, absolute fire. Oh yeah, Cats 24/7. Oh yeah, Cats is man, Dante, try to tell him, man. Cats is fuego, stupid fire, stupid. I heard Langer's Deli in LA is pretty good. Yeah, Langer's is very. There's a lot of Langer's. What was the other one? Cantor's. Brent's. There's a few. There used to be Jerry's used to be good, but there's not a lot of like delis popping off in LA as much anymore. Definitely nowhere near like there is in New York for sure. Best pastrami I've had at Cats. Schwartz in Montreal. Haven't been to Montreal, but I'm telling you, Cats is the one for sure. Yeah, Shay was cooking them for real, Dre. For real. Africa nailed that one. Johnny also best pickle that makes them. Johnny's pickles, huh? To me, good defense is about making the best players shoot difficult shots at spots on the floor they send that help. Yeah, and then making players shoot, Africa, making guys get to areas that are not comfortable and that are not their spots, going to their weak hand, making them pull up. Like, there's guys who, if they go in left, they're pulling up, right? So you want to make them go right. NBA players are creatures of habit. You take them out of their spots, out of their areas that they feel comfortable in, send a double, do anything you can to make them uncomfortable and think about something else and just making the shot. And that's really what it is, just making them uncomfortable, making them do things that they're not really consistently doing. And there are greats, NBA greats that you can do that to, and it just doesn't matter. But the majority of the league is not those guys. Best I had was Cats as well. Schwartz in Montreal is great for smoked meat. Also, meat bagels better than NY bagels. Oh, okay. That I don't know, but I trust your opinion, man. We'll go from there. But New York bagels are fire. I think it's $25 for sandwich from Cats. Still worth it. Cats is expensive for real. Flores red beef and mutts. Okay, Hoboken. Okay, yeah, that's about that one. Love the support vibes I've seen between you creators, keeping the work. Yeah. Kurt Williams, appreciate you for pulling up. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Like a lot of these guys, I'm telling you, they opened the door for me and blessed me on their channel and let me feel at home on their channel. And they've been coming over and supporting me heavy. And I'm just that type of guy naturally. So it's really good to like, real recognize real. And I'm coming across a lot of guys who are that type of way as well. Really just good dudes, just want to talk Laker basketball or basketball in general. And just, it's become a really good group of people that just really love the game of basketball all over the world that we talk to when we do these shows. So that's just what it is. I'm not the type of guy to get on, and go and just talk about a bunch of false narratives and all that stuff. I like to talk the true nuances of the game, like the real stories, like the real history, talk about the excitement of the future and stuff like that. And I like being around guys and gals that do the same thing. And I've been lucky to have guys who got great channels let me be part of them. And it's always an honor and a blessing to have them come show up on mine. Okay, here we go. It said ground beef, peppers, mozzarella cheese, bacon, and couldn't go all out because I had to go to a dinner. He said couldn't go all out. So I had to keep it light, bro. Oh, man. Yeah, that sounds fire. That sounds definitely fire. The narrative defense is not played in the NBA in this era is crazy. If you look at all the teams winning NBA titles in the era are all top 10 defenses. Well, I will say this. Wait, did I post the link? Okay, yeah, I did. I will say this though. The defensive rating is way higher than it was. Teams are scoring at a crazy level. You can't touch guys. This is a fun debate because the game is just so different. And the word defense, what it was used from the 80s and 90s, it was really more about intimidation than it was defense. It was more about physicality and just fouling the hell out of someone than it really was defense. I feel like there's a ton of more skill now. I feel like there's a ton of more like specialists and assistant coaches and data and video and the kind of things that if you got a player that's serious and willing to put the time in that can really, really get better and do this. But like even just 10 years ago, I think the defense was better than it is now. Like you can't I feel like that the early to mid late 2000s was way better defense than like 2010 to 2020. But that's just me. It's just the style of game is so different, and the 3-point shot and the lack of the big man, all these things contribute to a whole different game, which makes things completely different, when you analyze it. Young Africa, what's up, my guy?
What up, Jeff? What's up, man?
Oh, over here just crying over my New York Giants, embarrassing the hell out of me in New York City. But outside of that, everything's good. Everything's good. Take the 40-0, and that's a tough pill to swallow, but still up here talking basketball.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's insanity, bro. That's insanity.
Not even no field goals or nothing like that. Damn, that's crazy.
No, they nothing. I'm surprised. I'm surprised the dudes even knew what bus to get on to come to the like because they couldn't find anything else. But anyways, yeah, it was totally embarrassing. Totally embarrassing. But it's still my team. I still rock when I'll still be there like an idiot next Sunday rooting them on. But yeah, it was a bad look today for sure.
Okay. So,
but yeah, man.
What's up?
Yeah, so I was just, today was kind of a free form. I didn't really have a particular topic. I just pulled up and just kind of addressing some of the things I talked about on the last streams. But it seems like me or you're pretty much on the same page. But I just think I think people I think what it is I think people do this weird thing with Austin Reeves, right? They like punish him for playing with Braun because they either say like Braun makes him better or like Braun bailed him out, or or some Braun fans will just blame him, right? It's a weird dynamic, right? So it's like you have the Laker thing, the Braun thing. There's a couple other things. And I think there's kind of a weird jealousy issue with him. And I also think that like there's this weird Caruso thing that they try to compare him to him, and they're not even the same player. You know what I mean? so it's just like just because the two dudes are white, do not like Dirk Nowitzki exactly was not Larry Bird. Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki was not Larry Bird. You know what I mean? Like I remember this when Charles Barkley said, I try to stay away from this topic because I think it's from that angle, but sometimes it just has to be addressed, right? But I remember saying when they were talking about what Charles Barkley once said, he goes, man, the only thing similar to Dirk Nowitzki and Larry Bird is that they're both white. That's it. But I think it's a weird thing to where you're being punished for not being Caruso and you're being punished for playing with Braun. Like, what do you think about that? It's just a weird dynamic, right? I don't think I've seen a player that's undrafted come in and just put up with stuff like this. It's just weird to me.
100% agree. I think one of the factors is playing for the Lakers. I think that when you play for the Lakers, there's a lot of Laker haters, and the success that Austin Reeves is having, they think is overblown and overhyped. That's one of the major reasons. And then it's about when you talk about him being a white player, yeah, that's all I hear is the comparisons to other white players, like
Yeah.
comparisons to Gordon Hayward, comparisons to Tyler Hero, comparisons to, like you said, Alex Caruso. He's a different type of player to Caruso. I think he's a more valuable player in terms of what he brings to this team specifically. Now, Caruso's a great player, but we have a Vanderbilt type player that can play that role that Caruso played. Now, can he hit the three and can he be a consistent shooter? We will see, man. I don't expect huge improvements from these young guys like Vanderbilt or like Max Christie this season. I think the depth chart is gonna hurt them on that level. But when it comes to Austin Reeves and playing with LeBron and gaining benefits, I saw a lot of evidence in FIBA that says the contrary, Jeff. I saw a lot of evidence in the FIBA games where, see, Austin Reeves, a great ability that he has is he can play well around any surrounding type of players. He played great with on Team USA. He was one of the highest leading scorers off the bench, giving you 11, 12 points per game. He was aggressive with his shot. He had the confidence to get to his shot and go off the dribble on guys and pull up, hit him in the face, go behind the back, go to the rim as well. He's just got a high IQ, and that's why he's able to do that. And so his playmaking ability is great. His ability to see the floor and his court vision is great. And so you got to work around the weaknesses of your players. There's no player in the game, in the history of the game, that is perfect, and especially for the most players. And if they are close to perfect, well, they're all-time top 10 great players. But outside of that, you got to work around the weaknesses of your team. That's essentially one of the primary roles of a coach, is to amplify the strengths and decrease the weaknesses so they're not so highlighted on the court. And so for Austin Reeves, I think that he can improve on it. He can get maybe a bit stronger. He can get a bit bigger, but essentially he's going to be what he is on defense, man. The lateral quickness isn't there. The athleticism isn't there. The wingspan isn't there. The amazing vertical ability isn't there. And so there's limitations on defense when you're in an athletic league. And so when it comes to the hate for Austin Reeves, essentially, man, LeBron James on the team.
Yep.
LeBron James has helped Austin Reeves, and I would expect a great player to assist another player, especially when you believe in. That's what I expect. I don't know how you're going to throw shade on that, but when you talk about what he's able to do on the court, he showed in the playoffs as well. Whether he's playing with LeBron, AD, and he doesn't really take a back seat, and he knows when to step up. He knows when to take his shot. He understands time and situation, and so I see him as a very solid player. He's going to be a clear-cut third best player, and I hope the hate keeps coming because that means he's cooking.
Facts. And damn it, Young Africa, you were too damn young to know as much as you know, man. You embarrassed me when I was at my age, what you are now, because I didn't know any of this stuff then. So, man, you were too damn young to know as much as you know. Shout out to you, man.
I love the game.
Shout out to you, man. No, exactly. And I agree with everything you say. And Lo, what's up, man? Thank you for pulling up. I appreciate you, man. What's going on with you?
Man, how y'all doing?
Oh, we good. Just talking NBA Laker basketball on a September night in which my team got obliterated in its NFL season, but we still talking basketball because we love the game, right?
Hey, man, you ain't the only one, man. I'm still a fan.
Oh, yeah. So I get it.
What's the big?
Yeah, I got you. But real quick, I want your take on this too. But I want to respond to what Africa said here too. And Africa hit on a lot of good points there. And when you got also Africa, when you add to the fact, when you got someone like Austin Reeves, who's guarding someone like 3-4 inches taller than him, and they're putting him out there. Last year, you had Pat Bev out there guarding wings. They threw Austin out there. There was a game about 2 years ago where Bron was out and AD played, and we were playing the Clippers, and AD had a good game, and AD hit a basket to put us up, and it was the year Malik Monk was there. And it was a year we were finally going to actually beat them, right? We were playing great. It was good. AD got a bucket, and then we come down, and Reggie Jackson is coming down, and he's dancing while he's coming up the court. Y'all remember this game? He's skipping along the sideline, bringing the ball up, and he targets Austin Reeves, okay? He goes up to the left side. He goes right at him. Austin took away his first, and pushed him off to the side. He spun baseline, went around, and there was no help there, right? So Austin funneled him to the defense. And you know what the narrative was after that game? You remember what they said? And the Clippers actually, some Clipper players said this and were joking around. And they said he saw the white boy and went at him. like they said it. You know what I mean? So, but it was like when you watch that play, and he said it was like, you can't put him, and he can't guard me. But And when I tell you this, when you got one-on-one isolation, a guy coming down the side like that, going, it's the Lakers had made a mistake of letting him pick up steam and just kind of goofy skip the ball or like skip down the court like do. Okay, now I'm gonna go do my thing. They didn't apply any pressure on him. They let him get exactly where he wanted to, and then anyone that was going to be on that spot on that Laker team was going to get it at that point because you're either going to have to foul him or let him get a shot off, right? But like that situation, I remember because he was mocking him as he came up the court. But like I felt like Austin played him pretty well. He was just better offense. And that's what it comes down to, Africa, is sometimes you can play the best defense in the world, but great offense will beat great defense. It happens time and time again.
And Jeff, I put that on coaching more than the player. Like when let's say there's like 3 positions in a row and a guy's attacking Austin Reeves, for example, right? The first time he does it, no help, one-on-one situation, gets cooked, fade away, baseline jumper, tough shot, great player makes it. Second possession, it happens again. And the third possession, coach need to make an adjustment, maybe call a timeout or whatever needs to occur, but you can't let that occur continuously if that's the mismatch and that's the weaknesses that they're exploiting. And so I would say that that's more on coaching. And so get another defender on the court or, because not everybody on the court does everything. And so in the pick and roll situations, if they're hunting him out like they do in modern NBA where they just get picks, they might they pre-switch now, Jeff, which is like they'll call for the pick, and before the pick is actually set, the guy will switch the pick, right? And so there'll be 2 defenders that switch that, and you actually get your primary defender that you want to be on the pick, get that. But then they'll just call for another screen, and eventually they'll get their matchup, right? But they might be 10 seconds on the clock. If that occurs, well, when there's 10 seconds on the clock and they're essentially spamming picks, we got to trap the pick and roll real quickly, make him take a 3-second shot on the clock. Do something though, coach, right? Do something though. Do something.
No, you're absolutely right there. And like I said, the teams try to take away the other team's advantage of taking away by doing that switch and switching early. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. If an offensive team wants to expose a weakness defensively on the other team, they're gonna do it to get it. And like you said, it may come down to 10 seconds or less on the clock, but if you got a top 5 player on the other team, they're gonna make it work, right? So if you're sitting there and a guy's coming down and you switch and they do a couple of the switches or they make something happen to get the matchup they want. But then, like you said, then it's on the coaching to kind of figure out how to deal with it. If that one guy's cooking you, then it's all defensive schemes. Trap him earlier. Do whatever you can to get the ball out of his hands then. But at the end of the day, like you have to scheme against it because if they're doing something to expose a weakness in you. You have to find a weakness in them or do something to put some more strength in your weakness. And when you let a guy go up there, because that's an excellent point, and a lot of people don't notice that part of the game. So shout out to you again, because teams absolutely do that. I saw the Warriors do that. I see the Warriors do that multiple times. They have Steph switching, and they're trying to guess who's going to have the ball. And you see, that's why you'll notice Steph is guarding on 3 different possessions. He can be guarding 3 different people because they're trying to. It's like a batter playing baseball. They're trying to guess what pitch is coming. So the Warriors are trying to guess who's going to get the ball in this possession. If they look at a particular set that they know that they run and they know that play is sometimes designed for this 1 or 2 player or this type of action, then they kind of throw Steph on the other side of that. So, but the Lakers were constantly hunting him out, which is like the way the Lakers hunted out Steph Curry, no team has hunted out Austin Reeves like that. Like it just hasn't happened. So it's just a different type of thing. So what do you think about this, Lo? What's your take on the whole Austin thing?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you guys are saying. But again, like Young Africa said, it comes down to coaching, and that's something. I mean, you got to look at Austin. First of all, just having this conversation about Austin, we got to take into consideration the man's only been in the league for 2 years, man. 2 years, 2 different ball coaches, right? So, I mean, just for him to be where he's at, that it's amazing, right? And again, he's continuing to improve each and every year. So I'm very excited to see how that plays out this year. If they do hunt him, I'm very, very interested to see how that all plays out. Because like I said, down in the comment section, he's not one to run from this. And this is another reason why I would love to see why I'm not so much on the side of Christian Wood starting. I want to see, a Rui, a slim down Rui in there who can help, when they try to hunt him out, right? When they try to hunt Austin out, or even Vando, right? So again, it all comes down to coaching. It's going to come down to the scheming these lineups. But yeah, I've heard people say that about, his defensive weaknesses, right? And him being the weak link on defense. And I just beg to differ, man. Because I think he holds his own pretty well, when they do that. And like I said, point of attack, that's where you get him. Those guards in the West are a lot, faster than he is. Like Young Akfer said, he's not as athletic, but his to me, his recovery is elite, man. The way he can get, come from behind and block those shots from behind, and kind of alter those shots from behind, man. So that's just something that's not going to change. He's not going to get more athletic. So his IQ, and his him continuing to understand, how to overcome those the gift of not being as athletic as everyone else. It's amazing to see, man, and I love it.
Yeah, and on top of that, he also does a lot with a lot of these other guards who don't play great defense do as well, is his ability to draw fouls on the other player and use that against them as well. So maybe he's not as good defensively as some of these guys, but his ability to create contact, finish with contact, get players in foul trouble, get the Lakers into the penalty. Like, there's so many different things he adds to this team that don't show up on a stat sheet. I know free throws attempts do, but it's just, there's a lot of, including frustrating a team for racking up fouls that they're frustrated because they're getting these fouls called that they don't understand how this guy could be drawing fouls on him because he's not athletic, but he's crafty. And that part of his game is a major part of what the Lakers do as well. What do you think, Africa?
Almost definitely his value and what he brings positively outweighs the negative by far. We saw that in his second season. Coming off the bench, he was even providing value. And then when he got started minutes, he had a month where he was bringing up all-star level numbers on amazing 50, 40, 90 efficiency. So his upside is amazing. If he ever gets the defensive side of the ball sorted out and he becomes stronger, he becomes more physical, maybe. If he's able to do that, man, the league better be on notice. But I would say this, when we talk about, there's only certain moments where teams hunt players out, right? It's not the whole game. Because I've heard coaches say that that takes you out of your offense. When you're trying to hunt for the mismatch, it takes you out of your natural offense where it's ball movement, everyone's getting touches. It's usually an ISO situation. So you can't do that for the whole game. And so usually it's in clutch situations. Usually it's in late quarter situations where you're trying to get a bucket or just a breakdown of the offense and you just throw it to your best player and let him get something happening. So in those situations, I would be, as a coach, I'm saying in those situations that there's a coverage that we run and either we trapping or we just cutting off the driving lanes in which now Austin Reeves, no, just press up on him. Don't let him get off the shot clean. And we do the rest behind you. We got you. AD's there, LeBron's there, and Vanderbilt should be there. And so when Vanderbilt's on the court, Reeves is not going to be guarding the best player on the court. And if they have two elite offensive players, that's going to be a question. Now, when you start D-Lo and Austin Reeves, who's going to be guarding the other best player? LeBron James, probably not. And so those are the questions that I'd like to see with the D-Lo and Reeves backcourt. But essentially, when it comes to that hunting mismatches, that takes you out of your natural offense in the NBA. And that's something that coaches have said, and I've heard them say that. And that's not something you can spam too much and get your whole team out of the flow of their own offense.
Excellent point. It's like the hack a Shaq, right? When you're sitting back and thinking of, like, it's clearly a tool that can work to slow down the Lakers offense back in the day, but you can't use it all game, right? Because guys are gonna foul out and the Lakers will live at the free throw line. So excellent point. And I've heard coaches say that as well. And I also want to, because it is an excellent point and it is a discussion that needs to be had about the defense that a backcourt of D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. And that's a topic that is something to be discussed. But that was also the starting backcourt that I keep coming back to this. That was also the starting backcourt when the Lakers had the best defensive in the league post trade deadline, and for multiple rounds in the playoffs. So they proved that they could do it. Now, again, it was Vando and AD in that starting lineup. AD was playing like the best defense I've ever seen in my life that anyone has ever played in a stretch. And Vando was incredible. Now we're probably gonna need that level from both of them. And if Ruby is starting, which sounds like that's what it's going to be, then we're going to need like approaching like that level of defense from him in order for that to work. Because if you're going to have D'Lo and you're going to have Reeves and you're going to have Braun out there at age 39, and we don't want him chasing wings, so he's probably going to be at the 4. So you've got D'Lo, Reeves, Braun can still do chase down. Braun can still play defense, but he's going to continue to be limited in that role. So AD and whoever starts at that 3 spot is extremely important defensively. Would you agree with that, Lo?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and don't forget Torian Prince too. I think that's why he's going to get
Yep.
a lot of minutes here, man, because he's that guy who can play, play that role. But yeah, they're both the 3 and the 5. They're both definitely going to have to play a lot of defense, man, to cover up for to cover up to help Reeves, right? Because you only get so much help from D'Lo. And I know you said this, the numbers show that was the starting backcourt. But again, like you just said, it was because of the defense that AD was playing. He was all world defense again. So we're definitely going to need that. Yeah, that 3, man, Vando, Rui, Prince, who's ever even Max Christie sometimes, who's ever playing there, man, they're going to have to be at next level.
Absolutely. I forgot. I don't remember. Unless it's just I can't remember it. What was your starting 5 that you would pick?
I have.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Afro.
I would ride with the same starting 5. To be honest, man, I would ride with D'Lo, Reeves, Vanderbilt, LeBron, and AD.
Yeah, that's my starting lineup. So okay, yeah, so on the same page. Yeah, my philosophy when I coached, and I've said this a couple of times, you probably heard it, but my philosophy was I'd much rather start with defense and bring offense off the bench because I would like to suppress another team's top guy to try to make it difficult for him out the gate before he scores 10 quick points, and then you bring in a guy off the bench to try to guard a guy who's seeing red versus frustrate him out the gate. I like offense off the bench. So a guy like Rui, a guy like Christian Wood, that guy can come in and get you 10 minutes in a quarter. We've seen it, right? So I'd much rather have that off the bench than bringing someone like Vando in if someone's already got like 8 to 12 points and is going ballistic in the first quarter. So that's just kind of my philosophy. So it sounds from your starting 5, Africa, that you kind of believe in that as well.
Definitely. I think that like you said, the offense off the bench, I think it's about complementing each other as well. I think Wood it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to shuffle the starters with the bench, but we're so deep, we could go 5 out, 5 in, and rarely coaches do that on a consistent basis. But we could go Gabe Vincent coming in with Rui, with Christian Wood, and maybe then you shuffle the starters. But I would bring 3 off the bench. Usually they bring 1 off the bench, and then go like 1 at a time over 3. But if you go 3 off the bench, maybe you can do that and shuffle the starters with that. But even Torian Prince off the bench, that's another guy, and so you could go 3-4 off the bench instantly. But I think that the identity that the Lakers showed last season being a defensive identity, I think you ride with that consistent defensive unit and see how that goes. Now, if D'Lo's getting cooked, if we're coming up against a lot of firepower, man, 5 minutes into the quarter, and they go on a run, well, now you can always bring Rui off the bench. You got adjustments to make, so that's not a big deal to me.
Yeah, and then you got the continuity, you got the chemistry, you've got the full training camp, you've got preseason, and then you've got some timing that built in there. And if you look at anything what Denver had above anyone else last year is they had that continuity, they had that chemistry, and they had that health. So, Lo, let me ask you, if the Lakers have that, if they're healthy, the chemistry continues to develop, and that same starting 5 stays together, is it? I have the Lakers at 55 wins, and I have them top 5 defensively. Am I crazy? Am I being a little too ambitious there?
No, man. I think that's spot on. I had them a little lower, 50, somewhere around 50. But that top 5 defense, man. If they're top 5 defense, then yeah, I can definitely see 55 wins. Because you're going to get all world defense from AD, right? For them to be top 5, and then you're going to get the help that you need, in those other spots. Reeves is going to take the next step. And who's ever at that 3, whether it's Rui, Vando, whoever it is, they're doing something defensively, right? And then LeBron is being able, he's freed up a little bit to, they're getting help on the offensive side as well. So it frees up LeBron defensively. He'll have more legs to, do LeBron things on defense. But top 5 defense for sure, man. If they can hit that, then I can definitely see 55 wins and a top 3 seed in the West.
I think they also, and real quick, shout out LA Sports Live. Thank you for pulling up, brother. Always support. Make sure to go check out his channel if you haven't already. Like and subscribe to his channel, and make sure to like and subscribe to mine as well. Trying to grow this thing here. All your support is welcome and appreciated. Real quick, I want to touch on this comment right here because I think it's a good one. So he said, do you think if they did give Vando the start, Rui would sour at all? We know how he gets. So I don't understand how he gets thing because But I get what you're saying, though. He just got paid. He probably thinks he's going to be starting. When they traded for him last year, the rumor was that he was promised that he would start, and then he went to the bench. But he still resigned here, right? So I didn't see him sulking anything. And as a matter of fact, he thrived coming off the bench and played well, which led to that money that he got. So when he got traded here, his cap hold was $18 million. Everyone thought he was going to get between 12 and 13, right? But he played his way into a higher contract coming off the bench. So I think Rui, now that he got his bag, the Lakers paid him. Not only that, they resurrected his career. I think Rui is fine coming in, getting his minutes, being effective, and just playing. So while I think Rui ends up being the starter, because that's just kind of what's leaking out right now, I still would prefer Vando for just the majority of the reasons. Because my thing is, if Vando isn't starting, his role becomes much more difficult to manage as a coach. So I think Vando has to start in order to get the value out of him. And I also want to see he was extension eligible on the 7th. There's been no announcement yet. I'm really hoping they get that done and locked in just to get that taken care of and put to bed. But outside of that, so if you do, either one of you guys want to touch on that comment?
Oh, I was surprised that you said that Rui is the news is saying, or the background in the shadows is saying that he's gonna start over Vando. I'm surprised, but I haven't heard that myself.
Yeah, so Dave McMenamin of ESPN said that when his report technically is that most likely Christian Wood wasn't going to start, that it was going to be Rui, and then Jovan Buda said the same thing. But again, we were not in training camp. We haven't seen preseason lineups yet. That's just what's been reported. I don't know if that's true or not. Like I said, I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that was the early word. Now, it also could be because when you start paying attention to some of these reporters, especially the ones that the Lakers don't have things get out that they don't want to come out, it seems, right? Nothing gets leaked out of the Lakers that hurts them. Nothing comes out of the Lakers that catches anyone by surprise. So there's two ways you can look at it. One, that it's true, and that's what they're thinking right now. Or two, which is probably more realistic, is that they're trying to temper the expectations of Christian Wood starting. So by putting the Rui stuff out there and saying it's going to be Rui, not Wood, I think they're just trying to set the expectation of Laker fans that Christian Wood is not going to start. So if you're kind of trying to guess which narrative is true, I probably would lean that way. So that's kind of probably where I'm taking it. But would you guys agree? Did you guys see anything in Rui that would lead you to believe that like he pouted for coming off the bench last year? Because I didn't see any of that.
No, he was a professional. He bought in. And the minutes that he got, he went out and made the best of it. Now with Rui, I would say this. I know you guys are on Vando. I was more inclined towards Rui because the reason why I really wanted to see. Well, I want to see what happens in training camp. I think it'll be open competition, and between those two guys and Jeff, I think you said it. I heard you say it. On your previous live. Rui slimmed down. And he slimmed down for a reason to be able to guard, at 3 and 4, more so that 3 and 4. So if he's able to do that in camp, then, that's why I'm more inclined to start him, if he's able to really defend those threes in camp. But, either way it goes, I think the Lakers are in a great position and it's real nice. And then, like I said, don't forget you got Taurean Prince coming off the bench. So, I think we're locked in at that, at that spot, at that 3 spot.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think Jeff that if anyone saw what Rui did like in the playoffs coming off the bench, that kind of just silenced any doubters right there when he's dropping 20 points per game or close to that and having highly productive numbers off the bench, instant offense, coming out hot, sizzling in the playoffs. So I don't know how you could say that. And so I don't think if mentally he had any blockage or any resistance to what his role was, he wouldn't have played so well. And so we're going to see what he does this season. Contract season, usually best season of players' careers. So, we're going to see what that is. But when it comes to, just like you said, if Vanderbilt's coming off the bench, Vanderbilt's biggest strength is to guard the opponent's best player and minimize their impact, right? And so if he's coming off the bench, he's going to be guarding second units. He's not going to really have that role. And so how do you effectively utilize him to the greatest extent, especially when he's not just an average or just a slightly above average defender. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And so that impact is useless on the bench, essentially, especially at the
Yes.
start game. And so
Yes.
when you talk about how to utilize that aspect of best perimeter defender, one of the best in the NBA, you got to start him and got to have that. And then most likely, I would say in a lot of the games, if he's doing his job right and the guy's out of rhythm now, you're probably going to close games with Rui more often than you do with Vanderbilt. And I would be cool with that if you need the offensive production and the space on the floor.
Absolutely. And spot on. And again, I feel that Darvin Ham's job is harder trying to find minutes for Vando if he's on the bench. I just feel it's best for the team and best for him and best for all involved if he starts. That is just my opinion. And he basically said, he said it again. He said the training camp is going to be wildly competitive and yeah. So I get what you mean. I just wanted to, I thought maybe I missed something. I wasn't, trying. So I thought maybe because everything I saw from Rui seemed to be like he took it well. So I just wanted everyone else's opinion on it. And Ox 1947, Mr. Joe over at Lakers Fast Break. Shout out to Lakers Fast Break. Everyone over there, all of their chat that always comes in supports my channel as well. Make sure to check out Lakers Fast Break. Joe Soro, Gerald, and Magic Man, everyone over there, they do great work. Make sure to check them out. And Joe, thank you for pulling up. You make an excellent point. Rui was a professional. When he had a DMP, he went to LeBron for advice, and the rest was history. Absolutely. So I think there was a part of that. He did get a DMP. There was some confusion. And then, basically he saw the bigger picture, and it worked out. Lakers went to the Western Conference Final. Rui got paid. He's back. And now we're all back to see, what this lineup is going to be again. And Coach Darvin Ham all eyes are going to be on him this year. This is the area where we have to really see how he's grown as a coach, because now his roster is deeper, it's better, it's younger. You got guys on minimum deals trying to improve their brand and their name within the league to get bigger paydays. There is a lot of things coming in that are going to be a challenge for Coach Ham, including, which we touched on, talking about defense. We talked about rotations. We talked about where they finished the season as defense. We talked about maybe potential win numbers. I want to talk about the offense. And what I really want to talk about is the Lakers worked their way. They were in the 20s for both offensive and defensive ratings last year. Now they moved their defensive rating way up. They finished 11th. Now I know they had the best one post the trade deadline, which got them to 11th overall. They were higher than Denver's. But at the end of the day, they were 11th in defense. I expect them to get back to top 5 next year. Now, their offensive rating never really crept up that high. So my question would be, if the Lakers, and Africa, I'll start with you here. If the Lakers get their defense to a top 5 defensive rating, which I think is reasonable to assume they can, would you think it's reasonable for them to be top 15 offensive efficiency?
Definitely. I expect that. Now, the big question is, what type of offense you're going to run, Darvin Ham? And in the modern NBA, amazingly, when you watch the 90s basketball, for example, different teams had like vastly different play styles. Some would be inside out, some would be the rare ones would be outside in. Most teams are 3-level, especially going inside and then out. And now everyone kind of plays the same way, and it's just more so the ball movement and the off-ball movement that separates certain teams, like the Warriors, like the Nuggets, in that level. What I would like to see is an offense that utilizes AD in the post, utilizes AD as the number 1 option, and you have off-ball movement that caters to that. Now, can AD improve his playmaking at the post? Can he really be a post facilitator and playmaker? That would be a question. I haven't seen so much that in his career. He does hit occasionally, like LeBron cutting off ball, but he can't be the only one. Will there be adequate spacing on that team if they do load up on AD? And how's he going to figure out the Vanderbilt in the corner issue? Can Vanderbilt be an off-ball mover? Can he be an off-ball screen setter, which means we're going to have a lot of motion in the offense? These are questions that Darvin Ham has to answer now. They did run a lot of pick and rolls last season, but it wasn't so much LeBron AD pick and rolls. It was more D'Lo, and the guard played the Dennis Schroeder last season and Austin Reeves in the pick and roll with AD. And that's because they can clog the paint up when you got Vanderbilt. We're going to live with Vanderbilt in the corner. We're gonna help off Vanderbilt. We're going to stop the driving lanes of AD and of LeBron. And AD and LeBron kind of they occupy the same space in the pick and roll too. If AD is rolling, then LeBron really can't drive as well unless he's. There's certain times where I've seen AD roll and kind of like set a screen on the help defender and give him a certain lane, but that's like in tight situations where the slithery finishing of LeBron James just comes, the elite finishing comes out on top. But Can he do that? Can AD have that consistent mid-range jumper? You know how amazing it is when AD is on point and he can space the floor, even if he can hit the occasional three, but more so just hit the mid-range jumper. That opens up the offense so much, drags the guy out the paint. Now LeBron has a lot of room to operate, and so and even out guards too with D'Lo and Austin Reeves especially. So it's really centered around AD and what kind of player he can be on offense. It's not that he can. It's not about the points as well. It's not about the 26, 27 points that he has been given. It's the play style and how he gets them points and on what spots on the floor. And so to be consistent on that, to utilize that, now the off-ball movement and a lot of things will open up. But if he's just posting up, he was an elite finisher, one of the great finishes seasons of all time, if you look at the stats, Jeff. And so he was an amazing finisher at the rim, rarely missed at the rim. And so if he can just get that meaty jumper, that post fade, we can be a top 10 offense. I think so. Because you know what's interesting? There's not really room to grow for pace. We were like top 3. We were 30 pace last season, so we were already playing at a high pace, and so that pace, it looks for more opportunities on offense, but it also might rush you into your offensive sets. And so maybe, I don't know, he might have to slow the pace down slightly just to execute at a higher level, or you just go all out on pace and try and get as much shots as you can. We're gonna see what Darvin Ham chooses, I guess.
Yeah, well said. And I will say this, that being top 5, top 4, top 3 in pace, as we saw, doesn't articulate to being top 15 in offensive efficiency, right? So the pace does not always help you. One thing I will say, though, and you bring up a good point, I was going to touch on this, so thank you for bringing this up. The mid-range for AD. What we also struggled at was transition defense. And if AD is shooting the mid-range, that helps our transition defense, because then a lot of the times he'll be the first big up the court. So that will help. If he's hitting the mid-range or the elbow jumper more, that helps our transition defense, and it's going to lead to him getting more blocks. So because he's going to be able to get down the court faster because he's closer to the other side. So I agree with everything you said there. And he was absolutely elite at the rim last year. And I just killed me on people said AD needs to get more shots at the rim. I'm like, well, like he was. Like AD was at the rim more last year than he'd been in a long time. His problem was
in his career, Jeff.
In his career. Like his problem was his mid-range, his 3-ball, and his deep twos were his problems. Right. Yep. So I didn't understand that. And that's how the people just talk narratives, weren't really watching the games. And you can look at a box score and not know where he was getting shots from. So most of these guys on here, they look at box scores, they watch highlights on YouTube or do something like that, but they don't really watch the games. And you can spot those guys really quickly on here. So everything that Young Africa broke down, you could tell. Not only does he just know the stats, but he knows the games. I've been on plenty of streams where we're watching live games together, and me and Africa have had multiple conversations in game about how the Lakers play. We watch the games, and you can quickly spot those that do not. Now, Lo, I want to ask you the same question about the Lakers offense, because that was a big struggle for them last year. They improved defensively. They didn't get much better offensively, especially from 3. And one thing I will say, that with this team, with the way I think AD is going to play, with the defense they're going to play, with the roster that they have, this may sound crazy, but I think that 39-year-old LeBron may look younger next year than 38 LeBron, to be honest with you. So what do you think about that, Lo, offensively? What do you think?
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you guys with Africa. With his, but what I want to highlight is our bench offense, man. We're going to be able to score a lot of points off the bench, so that's going to help as well. In between, you're moving Rui to the bench, right? In this hypothetical that we're speaking of tonight.
Yeah.
So you got that coming off. He's polished offensively. You got Christian Wood. He's liable to drop 20 points in 15 minutes on any given night, right? And then you got Gabe Vincent, who can also score offensively. So I think that's going to contribute, very, very much in us, moving up into the rankings. Now, as you said, as Africa said, we got a lot. It remains to be seen how Woodham does, with the starters and how that all plays out. But again, I just want to pinpoint that, man. Our offense, I think our bench scoring is going to be, tops in the league. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that to the bench. But and you said LeBron's going to look younger. I can very well see that as well. I can see that. With AD being dialed in right on the offensive end, if he gets that mid-range, going again, and then I think D'Lo's going to have a bounce back season, and we've seen it during the regular season. D'Lo is fine, right?
Yep.
He's great. It's just the deeper you get into those playoffs, he kind of struggles a bit. So I think he'll put that narrative to bed, but we got plenty of time to discuss that. But during the regular season, I think you're pretty much going to get that 17, 18 points from D'Lo, and then I think you'll get the same from Reeves. So yeah, I think I believe our offense will be all right, man. I think we can move up, with guys. I think guys will know in the starting lineup, they'll know their role more. And coming off the bench, I think we'll get a lot of contributions from our bench as well. So I think
that was a great point you made, man. Just real quick, Jeff, is that like the Denver Nuggets last year, I just looked it up. They had the 5th best offensive rating for their bench unit. So their bench unit was giving them solid production off the bench. The Clippers are actually number 1. And so it's interesting how the offensive units of the better teams in the league. I mean, the better teams in the league, their offensive bench units actually do give them solid production. And I would say this, it's interesting because the Denver Nuggets were ranked 15th in defense last season, right? Now, nothing drastically changed last season, but what they did do, what I think a lot of teams will maybe replicate as well, is that they didn't have great defenders on that team. They had solid defenders in Aaron Gordon, solid defenders in KCP, but they had size, they had length, and we have that as well. And so if you have size and length, that limits the defensive weaknesses of your team just through size alone. It reigns supreme in the NBA, right? And so just making them have to take difficult shots. You can be physical and you can not get bullied so much, but you also can just draw them to the help. You can not let them get their shots off so easily over 6, 7 guys. And so they did that. But also, I wanted to ask you about this, Jeff, is that I think the defense, and we look at defense and offense as like exclusive, right? You even touched on it when you said that even AD's offense and the shot selection can impact transition defense. That was a great point. And so, and I'll be learning from you, Jack, because you're a lead at breaking this game down as well. But I'm gonna say this: when the Denver Nuggets, I think personally why the Denver Nuggets were average on defense. One is their elite rebounding. Jokic is an elite rebounder. Aaron Gordon is a solid rebounder at his position. Even Jamal Murray is a solid rebounder at his position. But these guys were elite at rebounding. And then on top of that, I think specifically why they were ranked 15th in defense was because their offense was a top 5 offense, such a great offense. When you're executing, you're putting the ball in the basket, no rebounds, no breaks, right? And you can set your half-court defense. Does that not help your defense when your offense is executing at a high level, Jeff?
Very much so. And that is extremely important, is that the best defense is a great offense, man, because if you can put the ball in the basket, then you got time to the more you score and the more you stop the other team from scoring, obviously is the way it works, right? But you said size, you said length, and altitude is what Denver has, right? So at the end of the day, but you're absolutely right. Like the fact of transition defense and that you to get up and set up your half court defense is to put the ball in the basket. And the more you put the ball in the basket, the more your defense is going to look when you can get your guys back. When you have ADs, when you have Vanderbilts, and you got these guys you got Vanderbilt who can play out there like Deion Sanders on a kind of like a shutdown corner out there, right? And you got AD out there who can actually, when he wants to, and when he's being agile and when he's in condition and in shape, he could swarm too and then still get back to his spot to block the shot at the rim. But he could come out, he can rush the high pick and roll and get back. So anytime you have defenders like that, you can get away with defense, but if you can't put the ball in the basket, you can't make shots from 3, you can't get offensive rebounds, and you don't have transition defense, that just obliterates your team. And the Lakers were very bad in transition defense. They were very bad in offensive rebounds. They weren't the best at free throws. They can get to the line, but they weren't the best in making them. And when you add those things up, like that's a recipe for disaster. That even though their defense got much better, their offense didn't go leaps and bounds, but they still made it to the Western Conference Finals because their defense was elite. AD was playing elite defensively, and even though he was giving you every other game offense, he was on the floor every night. There was times he was getting hit in the face, he was hitting the hand, he was hitting the eye, he was hitting everything, and everyone was like, "Oh, great, he's out a week, or he's done. AD's done. AD's done." But he came back, he played, and he gave us elite defense. So you're absolutely right. If we could put the ball in the basket and we can get our offense efficiency up, that by nature will improve our defense, because the more you put the ball in the cup, the better chance you have of stopping the other team from doing the same, because you can get back. Well said, Africa. Let me get to this comment here real quick. LOE, man, I thought Chico's might have went out of business. I'll say they were bad, but they're just a casualty of inflation. I remember Chico's back in the 90s. We definitely got to hit that up, though, Lo, for sure. Definitely got to hit that up.
Yeah, they didn't go out. They just they were doing because of the whole
COVID thing. Yeah.
all that. They were doing like phone orders and stuff, but no, they never went out of business. It was just the inside, and I don't think the inside is still. I don't think it's open yet. I
Okay,
still
cool.
think it's like phone orders.
We'll definitely got to hit them up though. For sure. And and Mike Alexander, good to see you, man. Thank you for pulling up for the support. I appreciate you. Good to see you on a Sunday night. Now, let me ask you guys this. I'll start with Africa here. How important and how big do you think? And because Africa, you touched on this, and that's why I want to ask you. You say you didn't expect too much offensive growth or anticipate too much or expectations wise for Vando and Max Christie, and I think that's fair. I think people are expecting both guys to come out improvement and get 20 points a game. It's not going to happen. My thing is, if Max Christie is coming off the bench playing 15 minutes or so a game, I think the ideal and the best possible solution for him coming off the bench, getting those minutes is 5 to 7 points a game. Like, I think that would be incredible if he can even do that, is what I'm saying, right? And for my thing is this, with Vando is this, and this is what I'm saying. Having the entire offseason to work with Darvin Ham and those guys, my hope is that he at least becomes a threat to but people have to guard him to shoot that corner three. Doesn't have to make them all. He doesn't. My thing is, like, do you think that he will improve enough to where teams will not just leave him just wide open? Like, do you think he has it in him? Do you think he can get to a point this season where he's able to hit at least 1-3 a game and keep the defense honest?
That's a good question because I personally coach like 11, 12-year-olds, right? And obviously we're talking about NBA players, but I see a lot of these kids do a lot of great things in the gym in practice. But when it's game time, Jeff, it's a little different. Yeah, it's a little different. And I played sports where I understand the difference as well in terms of the magnitude and the significance of your decision making in games. And so when you talk about Jared Vanderbilt, I think teams straight out the gate are going to guard him like they guarded him last season. You got to show me that you can make that consistently. You got to prove to me that you can do that. And so there's a mental level, right? I know for older brothers that play basketball, like when someone sags off you, man, and dares you to shoot, there's a quick decision you got to make in terms of just mental decision of like, all right, I'm taking this and I'm making this, right? But that split second decision might sometimes be hazardous compared to just the unconscious shot that you shoot in your natural flow. And so with that disrespectful defense that they do play sagging off of and just, clogging a lane, can he shoot consistently? Now, he's going to be wide open initially. They're going to guard him like they did guard him last season. And so he has wide open shots, which you would expect him to make. Will he make it at a league average rate in which will now not allow the sag to occur? I don't know. I don't expect it to be honest. I expect him. What was he last season? Like 30% from three, 31% from three?
Yeah, he actually wasn't like, it's not ideal, but it wasn't terrible like you would think.
I'm looking at it now. It was 32% from three, right? Which is just like slightly below league average.
The league average, so, yeah.
So slightly below. So can he improve 2-3%, especially if it's wide open? That's gonna be interesting to see. But more to my question is like, even let's say he does improve, right? And I hope he does, obviously, being a Laker fan, but let's say he does improve and he gets to 35% from three. Now they're going to be guarding him and face guarding. So he's hitting 35% of essentially wide open jumpers, right?
Yep. Here we go. Yep.
When they start pressing and they start contesting, can he continually hit 35%, Jeff? That's the question.
Thank you, because that's exactly what my next point was. See, man, just want to see how important chemistry and synergy is, y'all. This is exactly what I was saying, and this is exactly what I'm hoping for the Lakers this next year. Because not only did that young Africa answer my question, he answered my next question because he saw it coming. So look, here's what I want to say. That's an excellent point, because you should be able to hit an open shot. You're in the NBA. You should. I understand the lights are bright. I understand it's not necessarily your game, but you're expected to at least put in the work. If your role is 3-and-D and hit the corner three, you are expected to put in the work to hit that open shot when you are open. That's fair to say, right?
Yep.
That's fair to say. But young Africa just hit it right on the head there. What happens when you're no longer catching the ball and thinking, oh shit, I'm open for a reason? Once you get past that, I'm the open for a reason guy. Once you get past that, and then you have confidence in hitting the open shot. Now what happens when you get a guy who can close out quick and potentially you either got to make that shot or be able to put the ball on the floor? And that's where the evolution of it comes. And that's where it separates the guys who can just hit the three in the corner. And then when you get closed out, they still take it away from you, because then the defensive coach is going to adjust. Okay, at least get to him and he won't shoot it. Right. So now you got to get to that. You got to show that you're not only not scared to shoot, because if he does, that's spot on. If he gets to 35% from corner threes when he's open, then guys are going to have to run at you. They're going to have to run at you. And when you do, like, can you still make it? Or can you still make it with the same consistency? Do you still have the same confidence? Can you maybe draw a foul? All these different things. And then can you pump fake them and put the ball on the floor and make something happen and be a playmaker? Right. So Low, Young Africa broke that down great, and he got to my next point. So because it's a good point guard, he can see the play before it happens. So what do you think about it? Because I think that's an excellent point. What do you think? So assuming, because he nailed it there, that he shot about 32%, which is slightly below league average. If he can get to 35% and teams start running at him, right? Because I think Vando's going to get to a point where he can hit that corner three while open. I believe that's going to happen this year. I believe so. Right. I think that Phil Handy is too good of a development coach. And from everything you ever heard anyone talk about Vando, he puts in the work. So I'm going to go on a limb here, because part of my getting them to 55 wins and their defense being this and this and that, I have Vando as a major part of that. Right. I really do. I think him being able to shoot in that range that Young Africa mentioned, I think that him being able to be a threat to pull the trigger, as I mentioned, is important to that metric of getting the 55 wins. Absolutely important. Right. But what Young Africa broke down perfectly is what happens when guys start running at him, and can he elevate his game to that level, right, when the team start respecting his corner open shot.
Right. It's funny that was brought up, because I had this conversation with my brother earlier in the week, but I was saying like, if you notice, every video you see of Vando is him working on that corner three, right? That's every video. Yep. But I just believe Phil Handy is already he's already preparing them for that, right? He's preparing them for, okay, exactly what Africa said. You know, when you make that shot, they're going to come out. So I think they're working on it. I don't think they're leaking it. They're not showing it, right? I think they're not showing him, you know, making that corner three, because they want to kind of keep that element of surprise, you know, when they do have to come out and respect that shot, you know, what's Vando going to do? And I think they're working on Vando putting the ball on the floor and finishing at the rim. And that was even more so than the three. The thing that upset me so much about Vando last year was when him being a slasher, his butterfingers and him not being able to finish at the cup, right? That's what killed me even more than the three. Facts. That's where I want to see Vando improve. And I think that Phil Handy has definitely been working on that with him, you know, putting that ball, punt fake, and putting that ball on the floor and finishing at the rim. So yeah, he definitely has to take the evolution. And I'm with you. I think he will knock down that shot. I think, just for one, there was a lot of pressure, man. There was a lot of pressure on Vando last year. He got traded at the deadline, right? And then it was a lot of pressure on the Lakers. Every game was a must-win game. So that's a lot of pressure, especially for a young guy who's never been in that situation. So now he's here. He knows that the Lakers want him here. Hopefully that extension gets done, which will even, you know, confirm that even more, right? And take even more pressure off, because now he's straight financially. And he's going to have the full, you know, he has the full offseason going now. He's going to have the full training camp. So I think just off rip, you know, he's going to be more settled. And you know, he saw what he needed to work on. He had a full summer to work on it. So I think off rip, you know, he's going to hit, you know, shoot that league average from the three. But again, like I just said, I think Phil Handy's been working, you know, and I think we're going to see, I think the world's going to be shocked at what they see from Vando, right? Because Phil Handy, he's on it. He's on that, man. It ain't gonna be like, no, you know, we're gonna be in December. Oh shit, Vando's making that shot. Now they're coming. We don't know what to do, right? No, I think they got it. So I'm excited to see it, man.
Yeah, no, another great point, exactly. And I think what happened was we want instant gratification, and we got it with Rui. Like, literally got it with Rui. Like, they got Rui and they went in there and they worked on a few things. And it's like, Rui was a different player. Rui was good in Washington. He had moments, but he didn't have moments of consistency like that. And it's like, you could tell, like, from just his game shift a little bit, and now to him losing the weight, the Lakers saw something in him beyond last season and wanted to commit to him. They traded for him with the idea of re-signing him long-term and turning him into something. So someone like Rui, if they can do that with Vando, And you hit all that like right on the head. And exactly. And that is a great point about his butterfingers and not finishing around the rim. That was way more problematic because he actually did hit some threes. Like there were some that he was way off and some he didn't shoot. But the ones that he fumbled the ball or just hit the bottom of the rim or couldn't finish, and then, was dropping passes or throwing passes away or dribbling the ball off his foot, those were things that Phil Handley absolutely will fix because those are all drills. And then the type of stuff that Handy works on, if you ever seen videos of his camp, his ball control and limiting turnovers and his being able to use your core strength to get to your spots, that's a lot of stuff that he works on. And I know for a fact, because like you said, that may be true because we've seen a lot of him shooting quarter three stuff, but they haven't really shown him a lot of, I think you're right. They may be kind of doing some like shadows of fog with that, right? And kind of keeping that off the radar. That might surprise people with that. But real quick, before we get to continue the conversation, I want to answer Micah's question here because it's important for NBA fans to understand this. And Micah says, what does the apron mean with the new CBA cap? So Micah, there always was technically aprons. There always was. It's just now there's a second apron that penalizes teams just viciously now once you get to it. And that's when you get to almost about $183 million. Once you get to that, Clippers like the Warriors, the Phoenix Suns, and the Clippers are the primary culprits that this will affect. It is already affecting the Warriors and the Suns. The likelihood of any next transaction that the Clippers make, it will probably trigger it for them as well. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes along with that, like not being able to take buyout players. Some of your first round picks can be pushed back later into the back end of the first round. You lose your exceptions. You can't send cash out to buy second round picks. All these things will let you add all these other players. So let's say a player gets waived or bought out, right? Let's say I don't know who's a player that's making. Let's see. Let's say for the fact that James Harden got bought out, right, by Philly. He could not sign with the team like the Clippers if they're at the second cap because you cannot sign a player that's above the mid-level exception that's been bought out, released, anything like that. So like they wouldn't be able to get a player like Westbrook like they did last year because he makes way more than the 13 point whatever million that the highest exemption is. So the player would have to make less than that for the Clippers to be able to put a bid on getting him. So there are all these different things that come into play that forces competitive balance within the league. And I think the league is at its most competitive balance we've seen yet, to where a team like the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Suns, who are all pretty much second apron teams, and none of them are favorites to win an NBA championship. So the parity and the competitive balance is working, and this new CBA is going to drive towards that. And real quick, let's see. Vincent, you pulled up in the building. Thank you. It's all right if you're late. You're here. That's all that matters. That's what replays are for. Go ahead and check it out from the beginning and get a chance. I got some great guys on the panel today kicking crazy knowledge. So definitely some stuff you should hear them break down. So okay, we'll touch on this as well, Vincent, and but we'll also touch on it again about them lack of playing time. But it's a long season. There's back-to-backs. There's multiple games and multiple nights and travel and long road trips. Guys are going to get chances. It may be few and far between, but they will get some chances. Trust me. So the Lakers, Micah, they are hard capped. So they are at the first cap. Yes, they can get to where they can be taxed. But right now, that's what I said last time. So the Lakers made all these moves, have a tremendous roster, and they're not even a tax team yet. So they can go into the tax if something happens, but they cannot even exceed. They cannot get to the second apron even if they wanted to, because they are hard capped. So the Lakers will not be a second apron team this season, no matter what happens. So I just want to be clear about that. And nodded off of my chair. Hey, Traegers can do that, huh? It's all right, sir. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. So now that we talked about that, Lo brought up a great point there, Africa, about Vando's kind of like fumbling and stuff like that, right? Do you agree? Yeah. Do you think that that's something? I think that is something that is. He hit on it when he said pressure. To me, that's a lot of like jitters and antsy and nervousness, right? Once you get a little bit more comfortable and you're familiar with your teammates, you've got the offseason, you've got the training camp, the front office believes in you, you know all this now. I think a lot of that is mental, and I think that might be easier to fix. So do you expect that to improve as well?
I do. I think he got the size, he got the wingspan, and he got the athletic ability to be a great finisher. It's just about that consistency, and usually that skill set, players come into the league and they have that skill set if they are great finishers. But he should be able to improve and be solid at that. Now, like, can he put the ball on the floor and get to the rim and finish emphatically, or finish difficult layups with contact? That's yet to be seen. But I do expect that. Last season, right, let me break down the numbers for this because I looked it up. Last season, 0 to 3 feet field goal percentage distance, right? He shot 65% for the Lakers. That's like league average. League average is around like low 60s, right? And for a big who's 6'9", that's not good enough, not great. For example, AD, and not comparing him to AD, but AD averaged damn near 80% from that distance, right? So that's the difference between elite and or best in the league and league average is about 20% at the rim. Usually it's low 60s, but that's for guards. Usually that type of number is guards that go heavy at the rim, and obviously they're smaller, and so they get affected at the rim. He doesn't really have that issue being 6'9" with a huge wingspan. So he needs to be better. He shot 65%, but interestingly in Utah, in a larger sample size, he shot 75% from 0 to 3 feet. So, and his career is 71% from 0 to 3 feet, which is solid, which is good. Not great, but good, right? So if he just comes back to his now, I didn't really watch him a lot in Utah, for example, but I watched him in Minnesota, but he didn't really get that many opportunities on offense. But I'm assuming, right, that the shot selection was the difference, right, and how he was getting those shots. That's my assumption, is that he was getting more shots maybe out of his usual spots that he was getting in before he got to the Lakers, and now he was more having to maybe create or finish shots that he wasn't used to. I'm assuming he was just standing dunks and layups once upon a time, and now you're asked to operate from different spaces on the floor. And so I hope he gets better. The drop off would be interesting. I might have to go back and watch his Utah games and what he was doing. Maybe he was having more transition buckets and things like that. But I expect him to be better on that level. But just like you said before, I don't expect everything to occur at one time, man. These are young players that are still developing in the league. And so even guys like Max Christie, you're not going to get 3-level scoring out the gate, in the offseason. So slight improvements, better decision-making improvements, just like Lo said, with the, catching the ball smoothly, being able to play make if he doesn't have the shot, moving the ball. And I hope that motion offense, because the motion assists players like this, right? If there's motion and there's movement and there's solid playmakers like we do in Austin Reeves and LeBron James, now these plays can be utilized in open situations over contested situations. And I think that would best fit Vanderbilt out the gate. And then when you build confidence, now the contested situation, you got more confidence and you're going to go harder at the rim, and you might make those over missing those. And so that's why when you ask about the offense of the Lakers, going to be interesting to see if it's just straight up high pick and roll and AD post up with LeBron ISO step back threes. I want to see too much of that. I want to see more versatility in the offense. I want to see us utilize the better offensive plays that we have gotten. And I hope that occurs to a level that we become a very good, very great offensive team in the NBA, man.
Absolutely, and great points as usual. And what also to consider is when he was in Minnesota, and when he was not so much, but more when he was in Utah, he wasn't playing with like a star like Braun and AD. Like I understand he played some with Donovan Mitchell. Wait, did he play with Donovan? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't play with Donovan.
No, he didn't. Yeah, so he didn't. So he didn't have a star in Utah that he was playing. What's that?
Who were the ball handlers?
You had Colin Sexton,
Jordan Clarkson.
And who's the other? Because Clarkson started last year, right? He started more than he did. He was 6 man.
He started. Yep.
Yeah,
they got Mike Conley during the season as well. They did that.
Yeah. Conley was there to start the season. So it was Conley, Sexton, and Clarkson. Yeah. So he wasn't. And although Markkanen was an all-star, he wasn't a superstar, right? He wasn't someone of the gravity of LeBron or someone like AD. So that was the first time that I understand he played with Towns and he played with Ant, but those are not. It's not the same thing. So, and it's not LA. It's not these things. So I think you hit on all that, and it's the jitters, and then. So him and his spots, the shots that he were getting in Utah for a team that's playing for the lottery and really not, and it's got a rookie coach out there who's trying to find his ways and he's trying to find different things versus coming over to a Lakers team, while albeit was in shambles prior to the trade deadline. It's still LA, it's still the Lakers, it's still Braun, it's still AD, and it's a whole different level of gravity that you've got to figure out to navigate around, right? So that alone is going to lead to jitters and fumbles and butterfingers and things of that sort. So, Lo, let me ask you: Did you see? You probably in the playoffs did, but did you see Bando play often outside of being a Laker?
Just a little bit, because I saw him a little bit in Utah, and I was intrigued by him. The little bit I did see him, and so much of the fact that last year, you remember last year with the whole Russ stuff, I was inclined to do that trade and get him, try to include him in that trade with Utah.
Yeah,
moving Russ. But yeah, I saw him a little bit.
So what you saw. So it's kind of what Africa is speaking to. So if you watched him, so obviously I saw him in the playoffs with Minnesota when Minnesota was playing Memphis, and Minnesota like that year was doing almost everything they could to absolutely lose that series. Like it was just craziness, like the things that would happen. I think Draymond said that what did he say? That Memphis 6-0'd like Minnesota, like they beat them so many times. Like Minnesota should have been 4-0, but they just every game they blew and just gave away. And it was like it was a lot of stuff. But D'Lo was on that team. D'Lo was horrible that year. He shot like 22% in that series, and it was really bad. So it was like Vando, but he got the playoff experience at least, right? And then he goes to Utah to a team that's openly tanking and not going nowhere. So, he doesn't really know the situation. Then he gets here. So he literally was in like 3 different situations.
Right.
And and then what is he say? He's like 24, 25. So he's not 19, he's not 20, but he's still on his 3rd team in less than a calendar year. Right. And, trying to sort that, the man's trying to find a role and find a home. So getting comfortable with that. So I'm not trying to make this whole, stream, a whole conversation about Vando, but I think that he's extremely important to this season. And so I wanted to spend some time on it because, like I said, when I talk about the 55 wins, I'm expecting Vando shooting to improve. I'm expecting his turnovers to go down or his sloppy play when he's catching the ball to go down. Those are all things that contribute to that number for me. So I just wanted to get you guys' opinion to see if that you think he was capable of doing those things and make sure I wasn't crazy and, alone and thinking those thoughts basically is where I was at.
Right. Yeah. And I just think him knowing that, he's wanted here and he's accepted, he's accepted by the crowd. Because you remember when we first got him, the first couple games, the crowd, Staples Center was going crazy for Vando, right? And even during the summer, when me and LA Sports Live went out to Vegas, when he walked into the arena, the arena went crazy. They was cheering for Vando. So I think all that plays into a young guy, man. It really does, especially being in LA. Him being young, him being in the fashion industry, he's a fashion guy. Yeah. So this is definitely a spot, that a guy like him wants to be. And just knowing that he's wanted here, I think that plays major, into his psyche and stuff. And I think that rubs off on the court, because you got the coach in there, Haynes is going to have him right, So yeah, I'm excited, and I agree. I think a lot of our success does hinge on Vando. So I like it, whether he's starting, coming off the bench, or whatever it is. I love it.
Very true. And the thing, because he's a very fashion. He's very into the fashion scene over here. When it comes to Vando and his defense and the things he brings to the team, one thing he brings, because you hit on it there, is I think he has a chance with Austin Reeves and maybe even some Max Christie to be those that are going to be kind of the crowd favorite guys this season, I believe. Obviously, you got Braun, you got AD, you've got your stars, you've got your guys there, but the crowd favorite is rarely ever the main guy, right? Like that's why Austin Reeves was his, the support for him, and then the Laker fan base and the arena loves him. But I think you're right. Vando has some of that too, and I don't think people realize it right away. But he is a crowd favorite, and I think people think Christie's upside is so high that he's kind of becoming one now too. Right. So now that we talked about Vando, African, let me ask you this: who do you think, outside of Braun and AD, obviously, and we talked about Vando, like who do you think his role needs to either improve or is going to have a major impact on this team that's going to help lead to these wins?
I'll answer the 2 questions. First, I think major impact, that's definitely Austin Reeves, man. We saw what he did on Team USA. We saw what he did last season in the playoffs. Can he sustain that? I don't even need him to improve. I just need him to sustain what he did in the playoffs, man. Give us 17 points, 50, 40, 90 splits, step up in the clutch, be that willing shooter when you get the ball late in the shot clock, fourth quarter, when you're able to do that, create off the dribble. Just do what you've been doing, man, and he will just have natural gains on that level. He's got a huge impact, more than Vanderbilt. I think Austin Reeves is really the biggest X factor in terms of how great we will be, in terms of our ceiling, his improvement, his consistency, his ability to break down the defense, playmaking ability as well. I think putting the ball in his hands more than you do D'Lo, and using D'Lo more as a catch and shoot threat and off ball cutter, or even late shot clock situation. dribbling off the dribble. But really, I don't want to see D'Lo with the ball in his hands too much. I want to see him utilized effectively with boundaries and limitations around what he should be doing on offense. And so I feel like Austin Reeves is the biggest factor in our ceiling. But when it comes to whose role will improve, I could easily go to Christian Wood and say like his role in terms of what he had in Dallas versus what he'll have in the Lakers. I think we should get him close to like 27, 28 minutes per game. He's always going to be that injury insurance for AD, and him having a larger role in the offense. I think that will naturally occur. We need that, and so he'll provide that. But for the players that were there last season, see, and this is a difficulty, right? I would say the role of there's a couple players, and we're so deep. You know, these are beautiful problems to have, Jeff. But
Yes.
I would say the biggest, I could easily say Rui, right? And his role growing, but how much can it grow? Is the question. How much can it grow when you got players ahead of you in that position? How many minutes can you get? Not everybody can play 28, 30 minutes a game. And so he's probably going to just keep doing what he did in the playoffs. But the biggest X factor to me, or at least the one that his role is going to grow or is going to have a major factor as well, outside the guys I said, is Gabe Vincent. And the reason why I say that,
there we go.
The reason why I said that, I want to say Rui, but I'm going to go Gabe Vincent. And the reason why is because we didn't have that guard off the bench last season that could orchestrate the offense. And Dennis Schroeder was that to a certain extent, but his ability, like we see on Team Germany, is to score, is his best ability. And he playmakes off of his scoring threat. So if he's not scoring, he's not going to be a natural playmaker, Jeff. He's just going to be out there, not sure when to shoot, not sure when to pass, like he looked in the playoffs. Even though he gave us very good defense, his playmaking in the pick and roll was questionable. Whereas Gabe Vincent, a guy that can anchor the second unit, a guy that can make well out of the pick and roll, look for his own shot, solid 3-point shooter as well. If he's able to shore up that second unit, lead that second unit, play that pick and roll with Christian Wood, which I can't wait to see with Gabe Vincent and Christian Wood. If he's able to do that and be solid, now that doesn't only give us versatility and depth, but if he's playing so well in individual games, that means that we can, because he's a solid defender too. He's probably a better defender than Austin Reeves and D'Lo as well. And so if he's able to do that, now we got a 3-guard rotation where we can actually rotate those guards depending on how they're playing, depending on the matchups and the versatility. And so if he's consistent on that level, I think he will be huge as a guy off the bench, because he's starting for a lot of teams in the NBA. He just came for the bag, and we're going to see how Darvin Ham uses it. Now, there's a comment, right? Not to be too long-winded, but there's a comment that says, I'm worried that they won't get into a rhythm because of lack of playing time. And that's a fair statement. And I would say this: if we come out the gate, and we, just like you said, if we 10-2, Jeff, if we 10-2, those issues are going to be faded away because we're winning. Now, if we come out struggling and we come out 500 after 10, 15 games, that's when individual players start saying, man, I could do a lot better than the guy that's playing in front of me. Yo, coach, what's up with that? And I'm cooking him in practice and I'm not getting that time. And so victory cures all of these sensations and wounds and the potential difficulties with the team. And so if we come out the gate, we're playing well, we're flowing, I think that won't be an issue. But yeah, Gabe Vincent is going to be huge, and we're going to see it's going to be an amazing situation, Jeff, of which players get minutes. Now, there's going to be a player that should be playing, that could be playing for many teams, but that won't be playing. Low key, I think personally, it might be a guy like a Taurean Prince, man. That's who I pick, who is going to be eventually out of the rotation, a guy like that. And that's my perception anyways.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. So that's what I was thinking back, because the Gabe Vincent replacing of Dennis Schroeder, for everything that you said, I can't even word it better. So, but that was my choice. So it's like the addition of Gabe Vincent to this team is so much bigger than people think. It's not even close. Like, so I think you're right about like Austin. If he could just keep steady, be who he was in the playoffs, and just solidify that role. And then Gabe Vincent being the steady hand. And I also agree with you about Taurean Prince too. I think him and his $4.5 million and what you can move that with when in the level of CBA, because he's at the bottom tier of being traded. So it's like his money being at 4.5 million falls in the below 7.5 million. He's in a tier below D'Lo, and in the 2 tiers below like the 29 million and up. So it's a little different in what you can move him for, but there are things you could do. So especially as filler. So I think his role, I think he could. There's a situation where he does slip in there and help, but I think there's a chance, because I hardly hear his name being mentioned, and like when everyone's talking, his name is almost never mentioned, and he was like their second biggest like free agent, like money wise signing outside of a minimum. I know they re-signed D'Lo, re-signed Reeves, re-signed Rui, but they really only had 2 options above the minimum, which what they used on Gabe and which they used on.
Now he can still be really good. Like he shot 38% from 3 last season. Like, and if his defense is still there, he could still be really good and prove that wrong. It just depends on how guys ahead of him are playing. Personally, what I think.
Exactly, but I just wanted that because that Sam Vincent was Sam Vincent. Sorry, Gabe Vincent one was great, and that's exactly train of thought I was on there. So, Lo, who would be your one right there, that the addition to this team, or the one that's going to make like that step that's going to help us get to the next level?
Of course, it's Austin. You got to say Austin first and foremost, but then I like Rui. I like Rui there. I think I believe that he can really become that next become that next star. You got your big, I guess you got your big 3 in Austin, LeBron, AD. You throw D'Lo in there. I like Rui in there too to kind of complete that. And whether he's coming off the bench or if he's in there starting, when LeBron is out, I think he can fill those shoes, fill a huge void for us. So I like Rui a lot, man. Seeing what he did last year in playoffs, I think that carries over into the season, and he's my guy.
Do you see Rui playing the shooting guard or the small forward? Like, where do you see him playing, and how many minutes do you like to see him play next season, Lo?
I got him playing, being at 3-4, playing at 3 and 4. Whether it's obviously LeBron's going to miss some games, so when LeBron misses, I think you slot Rui in there, right? As that starter, because you got Christian Wood coming off the bench, so you're still getting your points off the bench, right? Now, if you didn't have Wood there, then you probably want Rui coming off the bench, so you probably find somebody else to put in that 4. But now you got Christian Wood, so I think he starts for LeBron the games LeBron misses, and I think he's the first off the bench when LeBron goes out. I think we need to, get LeBron's minutes down to 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a way to get 25 minutes for Rui, right? 25 minutes for Rui, and I think Rui's going to be in the closing lineup also. So I think he's going to have a lot of time on the court.
Let me give you an example. That's interesting. Oh, sorry, Jeff, but let me
go ahead.
Last season, just look at the minute splits of the rotation last season, right? And this is Darvin Ham's first season, right? So we had LeBron leading the team in rebound. I mean, in minutes per game at 35, almost 36 minutes a game, right? Okay. And our starting 5, Austin Reeves had 28 minutes. Dennis Schroeder started a lot of the games. He was at 30 minutes. But our 6 to 10 man rotation, right? So the next 5, they all played above 24 minutes per game. So that's a model that we could have this season, right? And so the first guy off the bench, or the guy who was playing the most minutes off the bench, was Russell Westbrook. Man, he didn't start many games, only 3 games last season. Then it was Patrick Beverley at 27 minutes per game. That was 26 too many, Jeff. And so that was ridiculous. We had Troy Brown at 24 minutes. We had Vanderbilt at 24 minutes, and we had Malik Beasley at 24 minutes, right? So by the model, and then even amazing, like Wenyen Gabriel had 15, and so wow. And this is across, obviously like various times in the season where guys are out and things like this that elevate minutes. But if we can have a 10-man rotation, maybe a 9-man rotation consistently that are getting above 24 minutes per game, that would assist in the longevity of a LeBron James and the longevity of Anthony Davis. And if his minutes come down from 35 to 32, I don't know if it's going to be 30, only because, LeBron, like the stat line, the career averages need to stay the same.
Yeah.
It still needs to stay at 27 top 5 averages all time in terms of average points per game in his career.
That is true.
So that's got to sustain to a certain level. And so and then all NBA considerations as well in terms of that. Like I think you said in another stream, Jeff, that you expect players to you said in a couple streets before when we're talking about players are going to play 6-7 minutes and get that 65 minimum game. I don't think so, because personally the averages hurt a lot in 6 minutes. Your season averages are going to take a dip if you don't play. So I think players will play maybe 25 minutes, get to their average, or at least close enough to a level that it don't hurt the season averages.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a fair point. You're
all
right.
NBA considerations, all-star considerations. So even incentives in players, contracts to hit certain numbers. So I think that LeBron will be around 32 minutes per game. That's around the same, about 32, 33, like Giannis plays. Giannis is a high energy guy, and so he don't play high level minutes. And so if we're able to do that, that will be interesting to see. I'm not mad at Rui, first guy off the bench. Rui and Gabe Vincent maybe coming in at the same time. Rui, Gabe Vincent, and Christian Wood. I wouldn't be mad at that if that's the first three off the bench, and we slide out Austin Reeves, D'Lo, and maybe Vanderbilt. And so, and I like to see how the starters play with the guys coming in. Usually, AD plays all 12 minutes of the first quarter. That's what the consistent thing I saw last season. And so, it's going to be interesting to see how he shuffles the minutes. But it's definitely possible to have an 8-9 man rotation. And I think the modern NBA is going that way, depth over just running out your stars for 40 minutes a game.
Right. And I think with that, I think like you said, AD normally play. I think how the rotation will go. AD plays those 12 minutes, right?
Yeah.
He's locked in there, right? I think the first, like you said, Vincent, for D'Lo will be the first one out, along with Vando. I think Vando will go out because Vando's going to be in there just to mainly guard
like 6 minutes.
Right, those 6 minutes on Ja or Steph or whoever it is, right? Vando, and then I think that's where you get Rui in there, right? Rui for LeBron, and then I know you guys, said what you said about Prince, but I like Prince in there, man, coming in there. I
don't mind. I want to see.
We like him. I like him.
Yeah, I know.
I think it just lost in the deck. When we start thinking about things, that's where it's like someone's going to have to. Someone at some point is going to be the guy that's kind of like gets Lonnied, right? So it's like, who's it going to be? And
I don't see Hayes getting any minutes. Jackson Hayes with Christian Wood here. I don't
mention him. That's true.
I don't see where he gets minutes.
The only reason
I think they'll play even when AD sits. I think Christian Wood will take those minutes.
Really? Okay.
I think he'll split his minutes between. If AD's out there, he's going to play the 4. And then if AD's not, I think Christian Wood's going to be the 5.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I don't disagree with you. That's not where I'm going with it. I'm just seeing of how, like I said, when you look at you see all these pictures they put out, right, and kind of how they've been floating out there. Jackson Hayes has put on muscle. Like he's put on. He was clearly told to come be the center of some capacity, to be like I said, the 5. So I think that with 80 wanting to play more 4, everything I heard, I know Africa said Christian Wood about 28 minutes a game. What he said and what apparently was probably promised to him was about 20 minutes a game. Now they could easily go up from that, right? So I think against some guys, if Jackson Hayes has bulked up, like you're going to need a guy that can do some of the things that he could do. So I think at some point he may play. But like the Prince one is just one that I think is just getting lost in the deck at some point. But a lot of things have to go certain types of ways for these things to happen. So, but Christian Wood, I like him because I think he can come off for either Braun or AD. But Jackson Hayes, I don't know. For some reason, I feel, and you're right, we haven't brought him up much, but I feel I don't know why. I just feel like they're looking at him as a 5 and that's it. And I think that because of that, he's going to get minutes because they don't have one person they're looking at strictly as a 5.
Yeah, because if you play Christian Wood at the 5 as with the second unit, who's the 4 in that lineup?
Maybe Rui.
Yeah, Rui.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough front line post defense in that lineup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I think Hayes gets minutes at the 5 with Wood at the 4.
Rebounding, can Christian Wood be the only good rebounder on a unit and we're gonna be solid and not blow leads? No.
Probably not, because when AD is our only solid rebounder, we struggle, right? So if we do the same thing, even though if it's against lesser talent on the second unit, it's still. So I think that's why I think Jackson will get some minutes, is because of that right there. I think the Lakers, and just like this comment right here on the screen, We have the McGee-Howard dynamic, splitting minutes at the center and power forward position this year. This is awesome. And that's exactly what it is at some point, whether it's AD or a Jackson Hayes, you've got that guy that's going to be at the 5, chasing down those boards, being a shot blocker. Christian Wood, everything I look about Christian Wood is going to be a secondary big on those sides. Secondary shot blocker, secondary rebounder. So if Jackson Hayes comes at the center position, and his job is to chase down rebounds, essentially. And when AD is in there starting at the 5, AD is going to start at the 5. He's going to finish at the 5. You're going to see a bunch of stuff sprinkled in between. But I do think that Jackson Hayes is going to, because he's simply, from everything I've read and heard, and unless that information is incorrect, everything I've said is that the only flat out 5 on the roster that's only going to play 5 is Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes. So, okay. So if AD's out, you're starting, you think he gets a start at the 5?
Well, that I don't know, because if AD's out, Jackson Hayes is going to get you the production offensively that AD can. So I think Christian Wood, if he doesn't necessarily start, he's going to play starters minutes. So you know, guys are weird, right? Teams are weird. You can have a guy that's out and they don't want to mess with rotation, so they'll start a guy who doesn't play rather than the guy who comes first off the bench. You see teams do that all the time. So certain coaches don't like to, but Darvin's rotations are weird. So he's not that type of coach where it's like, okay, this is the rotation. This is what we stick to. If this guy is hurt, I'm going to bring the 12th guy off, 11th guy, 10th guy. I'm going to start him. Everyone else stays in their normal role. But Darvin's roles and rotations have often switched, right? So maybe he does do that. But I'm just saying, often with teams, they don't typically do that. But if AD is out, then you're definitely going to need production. And Christian Wood is much more offensively skilled than Jackson Hayes. They can give you 20 and 10 in a starting role or off the bench when AD is out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man.
Oh, very interesting, man. I was looking at Taurean Prince's splits. Taurean Prince is a very solid 3-and-D player in his career.
He is.
Played well everywhere he's been.
I might have been underrating him a little bit, but essentially what I was saying was, if Prince can hit 38% of threes, you cannot play him, essentially, right? And so he's hit 37% for his career, and so he's had a couple seasons where he shot over 40% from 3, and so if he can do that and play solid defense, you got to play him, essentially. And so Cam Reddish ain't gonna see the day of lights.
I don't think so.
That Max Christie not gonna get a lot of minutes, but you said in some interesting, Jeff, where they want to see what he's got, and so it's gonna be interesting if this is the case, right? And I'm gonna be interested to see the mentality of Darvin Ham to start the season. Are we hunting for wins early in the season, which I expect us to, and we're riding starters heavy, or are we gonna go into the depth and see what they got early in the season, and see what their roles are and see how they fit with certain units and certain lineups and see what they do. That's usually meant to be the preseason, but NBA games are a different level, and so it's going to be interesting. Is he going to go 10, 11 deep in his rotation, or is he going to keep it at a nine-man rotation straight out the gate? That's going to be interesting.
I think they will give him the opportunity to, I think Darvin will give everyone an opportunity. He will go deep, and it's just how they respond, if they like Prince, if like you just said, if he's hitting, shooting 37-38%, then he's going to solidify minutes, and Jackson Hayes, if Jackson Hayes, you said he beefed up and everything, if he can, play like a backup 5, be that JaVale McGee, if you will. If he can do that, then he'll solidify minutes as well, and we'll be deeper. That's the best, that's the best case scenario for us, right? Is to go deep and have LeBron, rest a little bit more and have AD, on the bench a little bit more for a couple more minutes, right? That's
we know the tax, man.
Say it again.
Go ahead.
No, say it again. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I was just gonna say we know the Laker jersey tax, so 3% off your career average, Jeff, when you come to the Lakers.
That's my point. That's my. That's what I was gonna get to. Okay, Africa, like that's exactly what I was gonna say. So, let's say Taurean Prince comes in here and turns into Malik Beasley, right?
Yeah,
and can't make shots, but he could still defend, right? So my thing is, which Beasley wasn't great at. So my thing is this: when I look at Taurean Prince, I look at it. We've seen that there are many a player who have come here who can shoot above league average. They get here and they just can't shoot anymore. We will beat this topic to death because we're sick of it, right? We see it
Shout out to Wayne Ellington.
We will always see it. There's only a few guys that I think that could come here and that wouldn't affect them. There's only a few, right? But it's just so far we've seen it so many times that until Torian Prince gets here and shoots 38%, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Okay, because we've been burned by it too much. But like I said, unlike Malik Beasley, he will give the effort on defense, and he will defend, and he can help you win in other ways. But if he's not able to make shots, and you've got and if there's someone like Vando, depending on how that's going to work out with him, right? At some point, one of those guys, you can't have a bunch of guys getting steady minutes who aren't making their shots. So Vando being a better defender than him, like I said, I really think they're going to give Christie a fair shot here. So I don't necessarily think it happens to Prince, and I don't think he necessarily automatically finds himself out of the rotation, but it is an interesting thing to consider, that if his shot is not falling, that it is something that absolutely could happen, and quickly, because you've seen when guys start the season and they can't shoot, and then all of a sudden they're buried on the bench for a couple of weeks, and the whole season is just weird for them, right? So I'm hoping that, like you said, I do think they're going to try to come out 10-2, like or like 8-2, 10-2, whatever it is. They want to come out and rack those wins up early, because they don't want to be anywhere near where they were last year, having to make up victories throughout the season, and they probably don't want to be muddled into the 6 through 10 playing scenario where you're 3 games out of third, but you're half a game out of 10th, right? I'm sure they're going to do whatever they can to stay out of that, and that's where that depth is. If they can find their way in a top 3 seed, I think the top 3 is going to separate from 4 from 10. I just feel that way, and I feel like the Kings are going to take it serious. The Nuggets have won a chip, and I think they don't care I think they may slide to a team that doesn't care where they get seated. The Warriors are a team that often appears to not care where they get seated. The Clippers are that way. The Suns are probably going to act that way. Memphis, we don't really know what's going to happen with the Ja situation, and how that team is going to play with no Ja for 25 games, no Brooks there. I understand they got Smart, they got Rose, they got pieces there, but it's kind of a new team until Ja comes back, right, to start. So I think the Lakers look at the landscape here and see that they have a chance to really solidify their season early, even though the schedule is not ideal, but they have a chance to solidify their season early if they take it serious and just let the depth set them free. Is just what I feel will happen. I think everyone very well might get an opportunity early on.
Yeah. And man, if you look at the schedule, I don't know if you looked at it.
What? I'm looking at it right now. Whoa.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
You talking about madness? March is crazy for the Lakers.
What always is.
Come out.
Yeah.
They need to come out.
Well, these are preseason,
right? They need to come out and come out the gate hot.
Well, I'll tell you this though. The real quick, and you can the post NFL national TV LeBronathon is a real thing.
Right.
It is a real thing, which is why March and April are the post NFL national TV LeBronathon is an actual thing. It is real. It happens every year. The league will backload a bunch of LeBron games after the NFL season is done, after the Super Bowl. So once you see February gone and it gets to March, it's LeBron Central. And
Africa, you got it up. Read off that March.
Oh, March. Okay, let me go to March.
It's hell.
So the month of March, we start off with Denver, then it's OKC, Sac, the Bucks, Minnesota, Sac again, Golden State,
7.
Atlanta, Philly, Indiana, the Bucks, Memphis, the Pacers, and the Nets.
They're all playoff
teams.
Yeah, man.
All playoff teams. And that is the post NFL LeBronathon. I'm telling you, it is every year the league backloads these. And so that's where it is. So the Lakers, if the Lakers find themselves in a position where if they can get far enough ahead come March and get some separation, then those games, while important, they're not mandatory. They're not like make or break. And that's where they've got to be. They've got to get to a point that schedule is so nuts. Like, my God.
You go back to 2020, you remember they came out.
Yeah. Well, they started like 9-2 or 8-2, something like that, right? And that's exactly what I keep going to. I'm trying to find as many 2020 comps as I can to this team, because I really want that 2020 chemistry. Like, if they can get that 2020 chemistry, that's half the battle. And
yeah, by that time, I hope we're in our full stride by March, man. Heading into the playoffs. So that's actually going to be a good test to see how good we are. But I'm always interested to see these preseason games, man, because our preseason lineup is tough as well. We got Golden State, Brooklyn, Sacramento, Golden State again, and then the Bucks, right? So we got solid teams in the preseason. And even though teams don't play their, whole lineup for the whole game, it's going to be interesting to see even like the bench unit and the chemistry that they have and the second guys that are meant to come up and perform, the guys that we got in the offseason, to see how they do. Because we start off with a tough 4-game stretch of Denver, Phoenix, and Sac straight out the gate. First 3 games in the regular season. So,
man, if they get that game in Denver, like
at Denver, ring ceremony, Denver,
in Denver, if they get that game in Denver, like, oh my man, like because if they can beat the team that swept them, if Braun can beat Kate, like if they start, when do they get the Clippers? It's a couple games in, right? When is the Clippers?
The Clippers, that's our 5th game of the season.
All right, so they played the Suns twice or once?
We played the Suns twice in the first 3 games.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, we played the Suns once. Sorry, Denver. Okay. That was the preseason game. So it's Denver, Phoenix, Sac, Orlando, and then the Clippers.
Okay, so if they beat, I'll just say this: if they beat Denver and they beat the Clippers, the teams that have kind of been the Achilles heel, right? The one that swept them and the team that's beaten them for forever. If they get those 2, and if they split like Sacramento, I'm cool if they split like Sacramento, Phoenix, right? If just 1-1, whichever situation that was, and I think they can beat Orlando. So if you come out of this 4-1, like would be like if you're trying to get 10-2, you got to probably go 4-1. And so if they beat Denver, they beat the Clippers, and you split one, is the Phoenix game is in Phoenix, right? Where's the Sacramento one?
Oh no, the Phoenix game is home, and that's the Sacramento one.
Yeah, that's the second.
The home opener is Denver, at Denver, ring ceremony night for the Nuggets, and then at Phoenix, and then home game for Phoenix, and then at Sacramento.
Yeah, I think we lose that.
So they're all 3 games are on the road to start the game?
No. The Phoenix one is at home. My bad.
Oh, okay. So that is the home opener.
That is the home opener.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's right.
Oh, you said home opener. My bad.
Yeah, the home opener for the Lakers. Yes. Okay. So they got the they got the home. They got Denver's home opener in Denver, the ring ceremony. Then their second game is the Lakers home opener against Phoenix, and then they're in Sacramento, right?
Yep.
And then Orlando at home.
Yep.
And then the Clippers doesn't matter. Same building. Yep. So
we got Orlando again. Yeah, and then we got Phoenix the next week as well. We're playing Phoenix twice in like 3 weeks, man. So
okay. So if they can split Phoenix, Sacramento, get Clippers, get Denver, get Orlando, then to me those first 5 games are telling. So if they could come out of that, if they could come out like 3-2, wouldn't be terrible, but I don't want to see that. If they can come out 4-1, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with splitting Phoenix and Sacramento, but I want the Denver game and I want the Clipper game just for narratives, just for the whole, the mystique of all this stuff, right? So those are the games I want, because there are people who absolutely believe, like, and I understand there's no way to defend you getting swept, and because I don't care if it was competitive, you got swept. Like if I gotta listen to the Big Tone rant one more time, you bums, sucker, you bums, got swept, you bums, he's a role player. Like if I gotta listen to that any longer, like of how, because you got one lucky game in a series that all of a sudden that you were like better against Denver, Denver just didn't take you serious, like really is what it was. So my thing is just like this year to me is about slaying these narratives, the Austin Reeves narrative, the LeBron narratives, the AD narratives, like all of these narratives, like the Clipper narrative, the getting swept narrative. Like this is a revenge season across the board, in my opinion. So if we come out 4-1, that's a great way to start a revenge season, and that's what I'm hoping for. Give me 4-1 in this piece, and I'll be happy as hell.
Come out, win those first 2, and then lose. Drop one into Sacramento.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I really want the Denver one, and I really want the Clipper one.
Right.
Just people, so people can shut all the way the hell up. Like those are the ones that just like, and not just for people to shut the hell up, but just to get in their heads that we can beat you. Like we can beat you. Like I don't care if you beat us all these times 3 straight seasons. I don't care if you just swept us. What have you done for me lately? This is a new team. This is a new way, and we just took it to you. Like. That's what I want the narrative to be coming out after 5 games.
I personally want to see AD play well against Jokic, but also dominate DeAndre Ayton as well. I'm looking at that Phoenix game at home, first game, and like I want to see AD, because the weakness of of the Suns is interior presence. And so DeAndre Ayton is not a great defender. We saw what Jokic did to Ayton last season. And so I want AD to dominate. I want him to come out the gate flaming, MVP candidate and talk to that straight out the gate. And I want to see that mentality of dominance. And so we're going to see. It's going to be interesting to see because, again, a team for Darvin Ham against a team like Sacramento, that's when you go 10, 11 deep in your rotation with a high-paced team like that, right? That's where you go to your 3-and-D guys like Torian Prince, maybe like guys like that can run up and down the court, and you might go small ball. See, that's the type of lineup where because they got Sabonis at the 5, now you might go Christian Wood at the 5, and maybe Jackson Hayes doesn't get so many minutes, or Darvin Ham actually does go Jackson Hayes and wants to dominate the inside and offensive rebounds like a Kevon Looney in the playoffs last season against Sacramento and beat them up inside. So it's going to be interesting to see because we got a versatile lineup. I hope that Darvin Ham plays to the team, to the matchup more than just try and go with a continuous lineup. Now you do need continuity, but I think you need continuity with your starting guys more so than the bench units. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how he if he does change his lineups or change his rotations depending on matchups. So what you think, Jeff? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a chance of that. You can, and I do agree that the chemistry with the starters, but I also do agree that continuity with like bench people knowing their roles is important. You know what I mean? But chemistry and continuity with the starters is absolutely important because they're going to get the bulk of your minutes. And rotations are important in the way that Darvin Ham said stuff. And I gave him a pass last year just for the simple fact that the roster was kind of inadequate. And he was a rookie coach and he had the Russ situation and it wasn't a great fit. And there was a lot of pressure on the front office. Like Jeannie Buss and Plinka weren't even being shown at games. Like there was a lot of dynamics last year that led to a lot of people just doing, just how can we fix this? And when you're trying to fix a problem that's actively happening and you've got a season and you've got teams to prepare for and you've got all this drama surrounding you, the Lakers are going into the season with absolutely zero drama. And I think that alone is a leg up.
So, I know you. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I know you're giving Darvin the pass last season. And honestly, he proved me wrong in many ways with our playoff run and with the defensive unit that he had when he did get the players that fit maybe even his style of coaching more so, right? So if that's the case, right? Straight out the gate in the first game, Jeff, if I see a Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, D-Lo 3-guard lineup, ain't no more passes, man. No more passes. Better not see that lineup.
No.
Better not see no Gabe Vincent riding with Austin Reeves and D-Lo. Better not see that.
I agree. And I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, Angie. Yeah, we still on. Sometimes we get here and we're talking with brilliant minds, and I don't even realize how long these streams are going for. That's what's dope about it. I agree with you 100%. If he does do that, then he loses the support from kind of giving him a break, because I get why he did it last year. There's absolutely no reason for him to do it this year. So if he does it this year, that's just psychotic in my mind, right? That's just self-sabotage at that point. So I'm going to be convinced that if he's doing it last year, he's trying to get fired to get back to Giannis. That's all I'm going to think of. He's going to do something stupid like that because it just makes no sense for him to do that, right? It just doesn't make any sense. He's got the depth. Pelinka went out and did his job. Now it's time for Darvin Ham to do his job. And now it's time for LeBron James, Anthony Davis to do their jobs. And it's time for D'Angelo Russell to start doing his job. And when that happens, for an entire season and in the playoffs, that's where it is. D'Lo can have a great season, but if he falls off in the playoffs, then we're right back where we started again. So at the end of the day, if everyone does their job, and I understand it's easier said than done, but the job will be a lot easier this year because you've got the right people, you've got less distractions, you've got no drama. There is peace in Lakerland, and usually when there's peace in Lakerland, things can work on that. So last time we had peace in Lakerland was 2020. You know what I mean? So that was a special team. Not one of the most talented teams we've ever had that's won a championship, but it was a special team. And they had a special bond and their chemistry was elite. If we get, like I said, that's what I'm looking for. If they get anywhere near that level of chemistry, even above talent, because they've got talent. But if they can get to that level of chemistry, then this team can get to those 55 wins if healthy. Convinced. Absolutely convinced.
I'd like to ask Lo, what's your faith in Darvin Ham? What would you see last season? And you believe in Darvin Ham?
I do. What he had to start out with, it was kind of hard to judge him. But, I mean, he made the best out of that situation. It didn't show record-wise. But, Russ could have been a lot worse in regards to locker room stuff. A lot worse than what it was. But he did have the respect of the locker room. And then when he got the lineup, like Jeff just said, when Rob flipped the roster, Ham got us into the playoffs. And albeit, playing, I mean, we were a game and a half out of the 6th seed. So we could have dodged that altogether, right? You're an AD playing against Houston, a game away from probably dodging all that. So I applaud Darvin for that. And then you got into the playoffs, and I just think we ran out of gas, right? We ran out of gas. We hit our ceiling, because it was so much pressure on us, right? And we overextended ourselves. And Denver, it was their time, it was their year. And say what you want, man. He's a rookie. He got us to the Western Conference Finals. So, and it wasn't like we got smoked. Yeah, we got swept, but we didn't get smoked. You're a couple of D'Lo just being himself, right? Games away from making that series could have been entirely different against Denver. So
that's true.
Go back and watch it. So the man got us to the Western Conference Finals as a rookie, man. And you started out what you started out with Russell Westbrook and all that hell. And you were able to overcome all that. So now he has a clean slate. He has a competent team from the jump. Like Jeff just said, no drama for the first time.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna put us in position to be a top team in the Western Conference Finals. I mean in the Western Conference. So I'm excited about it. But I gave Ham I think my grades. I think I gave him like a C+. So.
That's fair. Yeah. Man, me personally. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just agreeing. I didn't have a point to make. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that, I value coaching a lot in the NBA, and so that's why I'm harsh on coaching. Right, it has such a factor to winning, and you can have the right team, you can have the right pieces, and if you don't have the right schemes, you're not going to get close to utilizing your team to the maximum potential. So what I saw, right, is like 3 guard lineups, and obviously your brothers have said that the rotation and the pieces weren't correct, man, and that's something he continuously went to. He was allergic from going with the 2 big lineup, so there's going to be interesting to see if he plays 2 bigs at the same time, if we close games with Christian Wood and AD, if Christian Wood is filling it in the first 3 quarters, let's close with Christian Wood, let's not do nothing ridiculous. And also what I didn't like, right, a lot of things to like from what Darvin Ham did. He changed my mind in the playoffs, right? So I'm giving him the benefit of doubt heading into the season, and I expect us to be a great team. But I didn't understand the coverages that he did, especially in the conference finals, right? I don't know how you feel about this, Jeff, but the sagging off shooters and soft doubling Jokic continuously, man. Yep. Really? After 3 games and that not working, and we continuously doing that and leaving the shooters open when they thrive on the playmaking of Jokic and the ability to get open shots off of his gravity. When you have example in the previous round of the Phoenix Suns letting Jokic drop 45 and they lose, I thought that was the blueprint right there. And a lot of people have been saying that you allow him to get his buckets. Now, I don't know what we're trying to do. What, ease the load on AD? Is it somehow some type of like pride situation where you don't want 40 dropped on your head? I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to feel none of that. I don't want to feel any sensations of that. Let him do what he does and let him cook. Let him get into the post. Let him have to create his own shot, which is going to grind him down throughout the game, but stay on the shooters, man. And so these types of coverages makes me question, like, because he's been even though he's a rookie coach, right? I don't really ride with the whole rookie theory because he's been a player in the NBA, been playing basketball his whole life, and was a championship assistant coach for the Bucks. He has a lot of experience when it comes to the NBA game. Now, managing a team is a whole different situation, and all the characters and personalities is different. The rotations and having the sole decision-making power is different. But the understanding of the game is what I'm talking about. The X's and O's when a team is cooking you. And you need to know that, and you need to be better than that. We didn't make an adjustment. We didn't go one-on-one with AD. We tried to go Rui and LeBron and all that, but we didn't go one-on-one with AD. We tried to consistently help on Jokic. And so I want to see versatility from Darvin Ham this season. I want to see us win in various ways. I want to see us beat up teams. I want to see us beat teams with shooting. I want to see us beat teams getting to the rack and doing all that with defense as well. I want to see versatility from this team, Jeff. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely. And I think you said it right there. When you talk about, like, if you remember when Eric Spoelstra, when he was sitting at, do you remember that post game interview when they were asking him questions and Ramona Shelburne threw out there about the go ahead and let
Yeah.
let Joker go off, and he
Laughed
said
at it.
that's what someone with the untrained eye says.
Yeah.
Now, he only did that because, not that he disagreed with her, he just didn't want, like, that was the plan, right? So, but he didn't want that to seem like that. But because what she said was absolutely true. And I know that Ramona gets a lot of heat around LA for not being a homer when it comes to being a reporter, because she's not a homer for the Lakers. But she was right there. And I think you can't just, you got to pick your poison, right? You can't let Joker go off. You can't let Murray go off and let the role players go off. You've got to stop something. So
Exactly.
I agree with you. Like, to me, and this is just my philosophy, my ideas. There's certain guys that you're just not going to stop from doing something, right? My attention and my focus would be on Murray and the role players.
Murray, yeah.
Would be my attention, because if Joker goes for 45, because when you look at the numbers of how many how many games Joker had like sub 15 points, they're all triple doubles. So
They were winning those games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every game that he had sub 15 points, every single one of them was a triple double. So if you make Joker go for 30 or more, and obviously you're not going to probably hold Murray below 10, but if you keep Murray below 25, let Joker go off and stay home and close out those shooters, like, I absolutely agree that that's the path that you can beat them with, especially if you've got more depth and more guys that they have to guard. You're getting back on transition defense. You're getting offensive rebounds. They no longer have Bruce Brown. They no longer have Jeff Green. Like, there are guys that were contributing to that team that are gone, right? They did not replace. And you made additions, and you were in every game. So when I look at this now, I think the Lakers can absolutely beat them this time. But if they do go in there, as Africa said, with the same exact game plan, then the same exact result might be expected.
I agree, and I think we have more guys to throw at Murray. That's what pissed me off. Like, Joker, it was just his time, right? It was kind of like, Dirk Nowitzki, right? And Dirk, when they beat Miami, what was that?
2011, yeah. That's the one that everyone just tries to stain LeBron with, which is crazy. But yeah, that's the 2011. Yeah, the 2011. You know why everyone loves 2011? Because they use it as a stain for LeBron. So 2011 will live forever in the record books for no reason.
Forever.
For no reason. They will not tell you that same 2011 Mavs team beat the former champion Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant. They will not tell you that same 2011 Mavs team beat Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. They won't tell you any of that. They won't tell you that, right? And the funny thing about it, most of the people who bashed that series didn't even watch it.
Right.
That's the best part about it. You like, it's the best part about it. So at the end of the day, like, it is extremely rare when you see these teams come together that put together like that they win the first year. It takes time, right? The 2008 Celtics were different. Like, they got it together. When Kobe got Powell, they lost the first year, right? When Kobe and Shaq got together, it took them a while to figure it out. It doesn't always happen that way. Now, granted, it was a quote unquote super team, but Chris Bosh took such a reduced role on that team. His numbers were not the same, but that's a whole different argument. But what I'm saying is that when it comes down to it, like, that 2011 team is used as the stain. But that's why I like, even so, at least this Denver team that's being compared to that 2011, at least it's not like a stain, right? Even though they're trying to, like, say, well, they got swept, he's a bum, he's a role player. Like, no, bro, that's just crazy to me. To anyone that say that LeBron James is a role player,
right?
That's crazy to me, bro. Like,
crazy,
that's crazy. But I do think Denver's a one chipper. God bless the one chippers. Those 2008 Celtics are still living off that one chip.
Really?
It's disgusting.
No, I favorites. Really? Wow.
No. I said, you said you think they're the favorites?
I think they're the favorites this season, clear cut favorites in the NBA.
I get what you're saying with that. But I'm saying I think that they could absolutely be a one chipper. You know what I mean? Like, I think when you look at the things that are happening in the league, and I just think the Lakers are better. I think the Phoenix with a full year, with what they have, will be better. And I just feel that either one of those teams potentially could beat them. And then would it shock me if they win? No, I will always call the champion the favorite. But I think that there are probably 4 or 5 legit contenders this year.
Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at that, but I think Denver are clear-cut contender, the best team in the NBA, and they have the best player in the NBA, and so, or at least the most impactful player in the NBA, right? Even best player subjective. But when you talk about impact and you talk about the ability to change a whole team scheme because of the mismatch situation that Jokic presents, like Jokic averaged 28 points versus the Lakers in the conference finals, 28 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists, man. And he did this once again, 28 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists, on 50% shooting, 47% from 3. Like he got it all, man. He did it all, got it all, and was cooking on historical efficiency splits. And so when you see that and you understand that that guy individually presents a problem for every single team in the NBA, and changes the dynamic on top of the elite off-ball movement of that team, on top of the elite rebounding that he gives you as well. And you can question his defense, but he was playing, from what I saw, man, he was playing solid.
Yeah, no, he was.
So if he improves that, and he wasn't doing that in regular season, but he stepped up in the playoffs, and if he's able to do that consistently, that's why I say you have to match up with him. Aiden got cooked by him. Hey, just let me tell you what he did to Aiden. The season, the years before. 35 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists, 59% from the field, 44% from free. This man was cooking the Suns, right? And so when we talk about the Suns, like that interior presence, having a lack of backup big that can actually come in and back up Aiden. If you think Ball might be that, I think he's more of a power forward than a center. And so I don't know how, just quite honestly, we are better than the Nuggets. The Lakers are better than the Nuggets, man. Based on what, Jeff? Based on what?
No. I guess what I'm saying is when I look at repeat teams, it's very hard to win one championship in this league, let alone 2. So what I'm saying is they don't have the makings of me of like a repeat. I don't look at them and say that's an automatic repeat. Like when the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, I'm like, that's an automatic repeat. The Jordan and the Bulls, that's an automatic repeat. Even the Heat, I felt were an automatic repeat. I haven't felt any other team was going to be an automatic repeat outside of those teams. That's, I guess I probably worded it wrong, but I guess what I'm saying is they? Yes. Would it surprise me? No. But when I look at the teams that have repeated, I don't think they're on that level. So because they're not on that level, and can they still win? Yes. Can they still beat the Lakers? Yes. Can they still beat everyone else? Yes. But can they be beat? I think yes. So that's my point. But I think they are the favorites, not only because of their returning champions, but they're very good. And for the examples that you said, and I think Murray's going to continue to get better. And as scary as it sounds, I think Joker's going to continue to get better. But I got to wonder to see if these role players have it in them for another run, is what I'm seeing. And how do they handle being the hunted? And those are important. Those are important, and that's what separates one chippers from back-to-backs to repeats and three-peats, is how do you handle being the hunted when it's a Wednesday night and you're in Charlotte or you're in like 2 cities back-to-back, the teams that are going nowhere, but it's their lone sellout of the year and they're coming for you and they circled you on the calendar and you're getting every team's best effort. How do you respond to that, and how do your role players respond to that on the road? And that is important. And I've seen many a team who wins a championship fall to that fate. And I'm just got to see them and how they react to that before I consider it like that. But can they repeat? Yes, they can. I just don't see them on the level of the teams that did. And that was my real point.
Sure. That's fair.
Africa, do you think that we're better equipped with this roster to handle Jamal Murray?
Oh, most definitely. I think we're better equipped to handle the whole Denver Nuggets team as a whole, especially when we talk about even Jokic as well with Jackson Hayes as a backup. That's going to be valuable. And then with Murray as well, we got Taurean Prince now. We got Gabe Vincent, who's a solid defender as well. We got Rui still. So we're better equipped to deal with the NBA, and that includes the Denver Nuggets, Lo. Yeah.
And AD at his best, you think he's he could hold it down with Jokic?
That's an interesting question. When you say hold it down, if he can match Jokic production, probably not in terms of stat lines, but in terms of impact, yes, he could. And so this is my question, man. Like when you have essentially the best big defender in the NBA, I call AD the best defender in the NBA. And if you got him, you got to live with that one-on-one situation. Ain't no helping the best defender in the NBA, bro.
Right, I agree.
You sacrifice defense and you sacrifice openings for the other team when you double and it wasn't even double, man. It was soft doubles, bro. Austin Reeves is digging down
Yeah.
for no reason, splash like soft doubles. They're not going to affect the 7-footer whose primary strength on offense is his playmaking ability. So if you're gonna grind him down, you're gonna say that it's gonna be a tough 7-game series. I'm living with AD banging down low, and if that's taking a lot out of him and he can't produce the offense, well, we got enough offensive plays around him to make it up. But I'm not sacrificing the two-way ability of AD for help on defense. No, 100% on defense in that matchup, and then you give us what you can on offense, and we got the rest to carry that load, man. Straight up.
Right. Yeah, and that come right there. That's what I was asking because I think that was the difference in the series. Jokic went off, and he was MVP, bona fide MVP. But I think Murray was the difference in that series. So that's why I asked, do you feel that we're better equipped to defend Jamal Murray, and then you got AD defensively. Defensively.
We were equipped last season, bro. I think we were equipped to not let him go off like he did last season. There was no reason for him to go off like he did, dropping 30 balls and closing games like he was. And that was, I think, because of the help on Jokic. And then also, so when you help off Jokic, right? And now the role plays that hit him, right? What does that mean, Jeff? Now that means you can't leave the role plays open. Now there's questions on the help. You're not really going to sag off of Bruce Brown or Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon, who was hitting the occasional three. Like you're thinking twice, and when you have that thinking twice, Jamal Murray essentially going one-on-one. He's essentially wide open off those pick and rolls of Jokic, who's a great screener, and he's playing one-on-one, and he's an elite player playing one-on-one on offense. Like he gonna cook. But so if you stay on the shooters, if you take them out of rhythm, and then by the end of the game, Jeff, now we start trapping Jamal Murray. Right, bailout pass to Jokic, have to create off the dribble. Now we get him out of rhythm, and then now you pass to the guy that hasn't touched the ball for a quarter. Yeah, I like the percentages of those odds, Jeff. I do.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, Joker acts as the point guard more than Murray does. Murray goes for his bucket. Joker's the one who gets the other players involved. So if you're going to sit back and you think about it, Joker had won 2 MVPs in years he didn't win a championship. He didn't win a championship till Murray was healthy. So we haven't seen this version of Murray since Bubble Murray. So Bubble Murray / healthy Murray, whatever Murray you want to call him, when Murray is healthy and on the court, that's when they're a threat. So it's Murray you have to neutralize and the shooters for everything that Africa just said. You get guys out of rhythm, you get them out of their spots. KCP was out there. KCP was out there feeling like he was Ray Allen in that series. He didn't think he was going to ever miss. Bruce Brown was out there thinking he was Reggie Miller, that he was never going to miss. Right. And believe it or not, Michael Porter Jr. did not have a great series against us. So it's like it's just those role players. And if they could neutralize the role players and just make Jamal work. I understand a scorer like Jamal Murray it's hard to keep him sub 20 in today's NBA. It just is. But if you make him work for his shots and not be out there and just, okay, I'm pulling up and I'm going to make it because I want to. I'm going to get 30.5 against you because I want to. Right. Like, that's what they got to do. They got to put dents in their armor. They got to damage some of that confidence. They got to make them think a little bit more. They got to make them make turnovers off of overthinking things. They got to make them make bad passes. They got to make them make mistakes. They got to make them make miss free throws because they're tired, miss jump shots because their legs are gone. The same shit that happened to us. They need to turn that table on them, apply that pressure, and they absolutely can beat them. So everything you said is spot on.
And Lo, to your point about the bench earlier in the stream, is definitely true because we didn't really maximize the potential when Jokic was out of the lineup and they were going Aaron Gordon at the 5, man. Whoa, we had to cook that lineup to win the series, man. We have to cook that lineup. And so Aaron Gordon at the 4, Michael Porter Jr. at the Porter Jr. at the 4 and Aaron Gordon at the 5. Like you got to cook that lineup and dominate him on the boards and beat him up on the inside. And we weren't able to do that because D'Lo wasn't giving us anything. Lonnie Walker wasn't giving us anything after the Golden State series. Jared Vanderbilt didn't give us anything as well. And so he was essentially unplayable in that series. Yeah. And we went to Tristan Thompson too late, evidently. And so when we have a bench now that can not just maintain leads, but even stretch leads out, and we got Christian Wood off the bench, we're way better equipped now with our depth to really make the other team's second units pay, man, for having their best players out and being so concentrated on like their philosophies are so concentrated on their best players that when they're out, we've got to be cooking, man. We got to be.
Yeah. That's where Wood could get that big contract.
Yeah, well, and now with Wood, there's another player the Joker has to guard now, right? Or Gordon. So it's like it's he wasn't worried about guarding or winning Gabriel. He wasn't even worried about guarding really a Tristan Thompson, even if he was put in late. There was really no one that he was out there looking like, okay, if AD goes to the bench, what big do we have to worry about that could drop 20 on us? And now they have that. So, and not only can he drop 20 on you, but the man can stretch the floor. So that in itself, which is why the Christian Wood signing, for the price that they got him at, to get a player of his talent, even with being the locker room issues or whatever issues it is, he almost has no choice but to behave here. He almost has no choice to behave. And I'm telling you, situations matter. Who's coaching you matter. The players you play with matter. I believe Rachel Nichols said that on Fox the other day, and it's absolutely true. The situations are absolutely important, and I think that this is the best situation that Christian Wood has ever had. So I really believe that he's going to take advantage of that.
I'm gonna slide real soon. This has been a great stream, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask y'all about it's been a great stream. We could do this all day, man. We're gonna,
I know, but then we look up and we're like, "What? How long has this been?" Yeah, no, I know. I gotta catch myself too, because sometimes I'm like, man, I plan an hour and then it's like 3.
Definitely, but let me ask y'all about the way I look at the West this season. Last season, right? My perception, which eventually was wrong. I ain't prone to I'm openly admit when I was, wrong. I thought the Eastern Conference was better than the West, and I thought that the Eastern Conference was going to be whoever came out the East was going to win the championship, right? And so, evidently, that wasn't true. Wasn't even close. But I didn't expect Miami to come out. That's one thing that was kind of surprising. And Boston, I think, would have put up a better fight than Denver, but
they would have
for Denver, but it didn't happen. So let me ask you. I clear cut this season though. Think the West is clear cut better than the Eastern Conference, and the West is very deep. There's literally 10 teams that could make 11 teams that could easily make the playoffs next season. 12 teams if I count Utah as well. And so, what do you think about the Western Conference, and who are the threats that will? How do you see the Western Conference shaking up this season, man?
Man, I got 12. I got Utah as long as Danny doesn't try to break it up. Like if they start winning and he starts trying to ship people out of there, I think they definitely could be in the mix. They're really the teams that I think that are probably not are few and far between, right? But yeah, 12 are absolutely.
Oh yeah, San Antonio, Houston, Portland. They're probably not making the playoffs.
They're probably not. Yeah, so it's. But outside of that, there are 12 teams that can be, and the 12 can reach up as high as 8. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not just the 12 can make it, but the shuffleboard that comes along with it. So that's why I feel like a team like the Lakers, whereas these other teams, I think you're going to see teams not worried about seeding. So like I said, the Warriors have proven they're one of those teams. The Clippers have proven they're one of those teams. The Suns have proven they're one of those teams. I think when you start considering those teams, and then you start thinking about ones towards the top, like what are the Pelicans going to give you? Is Zion going to be healthy? Ingram was just abysmal in Team USA. If he comes back and Zion is back on the floor, getting his touches, getting his minutes, getting more share of the ball, is Ingram going to turn into Team USA Ingram and just not be able to score because he's not eating as much? That can be a concern for them. When you think about a team that I think will continue to rise and will stay at the top, I think Sacramento's going to come forward. I think Sacramento's going to chase wins. I think they want a top seed. So I think they're going to be there. I think Denver may not be the number 1 seed this year because for multiple reasons I mentioned. I think with them being the hunted, with them saying, okay, we've proven we can win it. Maybe may see some of that LeBron and Cleveland attitude. Like, I don't care.
Season,
Yeah. So with that being said, which is why I think the teams that I think that could really reach up to the top 3 are the Lakers, and the Kings will be right there. I just believe that. So because I think that they're going to chase those spots more than others will, because I think the Lakers of all teams, of knowing how much they had to chase, and literally they were in the playoffs after the 12th game last year. So because when they started 2-10 and 13 seed most of the season, literally it was just playing for their lives every game. And then after the all trading deadline, it was just brutal. So I think them, because we alluded to the schedule in March, I think they've got that circled on their calendar too. I think they want to be sitting comfortable around that. So I think the Kings, I think the Lakers, I don't know which ones, if any of them are 1, 2, or 3, but I think those 2 have a strong chance to finish in the top 3. And then I think the 3 through 5, and then I think 6 through 12 is going to be crazy. And I agree with you in the East. I think there's maybe 2 teams in the East that I'm really like, because we don't know what Philly's going to be. Miami, they don't ever seem to take they may not take the regular season serious. They didn't last year. But if they get into a play-in game, and once they get in there, God only knows what can happen because they've done it twice since 2020, and they got to the Eastern Conference Finals the year before that, right? The only year they really didn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals was the same year that the Celtics, Lakers, Nuggets, all the teams that went to the Final Four paid the bubble tax, right? Next season, but come the season after that season, they've been back in at least the Eastern Conference Finals every single year. So
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so as long as they're in a play-in situation, I don't discredit them because they're just built for the playoffs. But even if they get to the finals, I just will never have them winning them. But if it, like a team like like I just don't like the team like Boston, a team like Milwaukee, like Philly just seems to be like one of those teams that even if they've got the talent and things going right, they just can't get over that hump. So really, those are really I don't see the Knicks taking a major leap to where they're considered a contender. I don't see Cleveland taking a contender leap. I don't see that. I see them being good again, but I see two contenders I see two contenders, title contenders in the East, and I see three legitimate title contenders in the West. So I think there's only, and those would be the Lakers, Suns, Denver, Boston, and Milwaukee. Those are the five teams I see as title contenders this year, and I think the West is going to be crazy 6-12.
That's fair, man. That's fair. You got any thoughts, Lo?
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there. I think the Kings are gonna. I think they'll claim the top seed in the West. I think the Kings are gonna be kind of like those Utah teams were the last few years, and kind of like Phoenix was kind of like that. That's awesome. They have that top number one record, but then they kind of fizzle out in the playoffs. So I got Sac being that top team, but I don't have them being a legit contender, once the dance actually starts. And I'm right there. I think the Lakers will be up there also. Just for the simple, like Jeff said, they don't want to be in that same predicament, that we were in last year. And then also, I just think our depth is going to put us there, man. I think our depth is going to carry us this year. And I think we're going to win a lot of games because of our depth. So, I got us there. And then I think, at that 3 spot, it's probably like Denver. I think they, I think they'll finish there. And then you got your other, all your other teams in there, your Warriors, your Clippers, your Mavs and all that stuff. They'll Minnesota, they'll be in that 4 through 6 or whatever, 4 through 7 play. And then you got, your Pelicans and OKC. Yeah, they're going to battle it out for those.
They're going to be a problem.
Right.
Hey, if Chet comes through and that's a rookie of the year season, it's going to be nasty,
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying OKC is going to be a problem. I could see them getting that play in and then going and play securing that final spot and then going and beating like a Sacramento or something like that. So exactly. Yeah.
Right. So but the true contenders, obviously, you got us. Denver, the defending champs, and then your Phoenix, right? Clippers, if they're healthy, maybe, right? And then on the East, I got just Boston and Milwaukee. Honestly, I don't see anything else. Miami, we'll see what happens with Dame. If they're able to pull that off, and if they do, is it enough? Do they have enough left, to make that deep playoff run? So we'll see what happens there. That's it, man. I think you got what, 5 or 6 teams?
You said 5 teams. Yeah, we all in agreement with that. I agree with you guys 100%. I would say that. So moving from that, and I'm gonna end it with this, man, because we're about to go for 5 hours. If we
you're right.
I'm gonna say this is that we've been talking a lot about, and I agree with why y'all said, I got Cleveland stepping. I don't know if they're gonna be contender status, but they're gonna step up. They won 51 games last season. I think they're going to improve in terms of how they play and more continuity with Donovan Mitchell there for a second season, learning from their mistakes. Their younger players like Evan Mobley getting better. I think their weakness is really Donovan being a gunner, but that's another situation. But they're the Golden State, LeBron killed the dynasty of Golden State last season. Shout out to LeBron James, man. That dynasty is over, and it's the new era. I think we had this conversation last season about, is it the new era of basketball this season, last season. I thought it was going to be. It's the question of, is it still the old era or is it the new era? That was my question last season. I know what my question is this season. I guess it's the same question because Denver Nuggets are in between the new and the old era, but where they going to take a step? And in the playoffs, they didn't really take a step on that level, and they showed that the old era showed experience and knowledge of how to win in the playoffs. Matters greatly when it comes to that point in time. So I would say this: when it comes, we talked a lot about the depth of the Lakers. We talked a lot about the role players of the Lakers. But at the end of the day, just like every other team, the health of your best players is the most critical thing to come into the point of the playoffs, right? And so This is what I want, man. We talked about AD, we talked about Christian Wood, we talked about Vanderbilt, but LeBron James. We don't need no LeBron James this season, Jeff. Averaging 29 points per game, taking 20 shots a game, about 8 threes.
Nope.
Yeah, we don't need none of that. I'd like to see a super light version of what he did in the 2020 season. Playmaking, looking for his teammates, playing off the ball more so than even he did. Obviously, it was the point guard in 2020, but playing off ball, utilizing his post-ups more, moving off ball and cutting in motion, setting screens as a screener, something that he's really good at, but for whatever reason, Jeff, doesn't do a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Screening and rolling, the gravity of him rolling to the basket would draw out the defense and collapse the defense and create a lot of opportunities. Just being an elite off-ball player, a playmaker, and an attacker in transition, right? If he's able to do that, give us like 25, 6 and 6, you know what I mean? And do that in 32 minutes per game. I need a super light version of LeBron James, and I need a version of LeBron James that is peaking when the playoffs begin, and then he can turn it up and do what he needs to do. He knows better than I when it comes to winning in the playoffs, and so that's the responsibility I put on LeBron James, to empower his teammates, to empower these players to be able to elevate their games, to utilize AD as the number one option. And it really is on LeBron James to not try and hit his career averages. I don't know how many games he played. I'm sure 82 games ain't going to affect the 20-year career of LeBron James. And so, but literally, it's like 0.1 differences to like top 5, career average. That's why I don't know. He would know the number exactly that he needs to hit to sustain what he needs to do. But I need a super light version of LeBron James that's more focused on rebounding. Maybe. Man, defense is a lot to ask for at this point in his career in the regular season, but at least competent defense where you're not just not closing out, right? Like, give me some effort, LeBron. Give me some effort in transition. Give me some effort. And he showed that in the playoffs. See, he's got it. It's not that he don't got it, but he showed in the playoffs. And I'd like to see that more consistently in the regular season to make us a great team and, utilize our players, man. I don't think he needs to be that guy that he's been historically in his career. Now, he showed that in the bubble year, he still was an elite scorer, even though he was giving us 25 and 10. He was still an elite offensive player. And his playmaking is predicated on his scoring ability as well. Can LeBron James turn into a Magic Johnson type player? I don't know if he's going to be on ball as much, but when he is on the ball, can he be a playmaker in a half court like that or in transition like that without having to score the ball? Operate the pick and roll without looking to score. His downhill ability is what allows him to make the pass he does. But can he do that and operate the pick and roll like a traditional point guard? I don't know. I like to see that. I think he could, but I like to see that. I don't know what y'all think, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, and I'll answer this quickly because I know we're getting up against here, but I absolutely agree with everything you said, and I think he can, and I think the team will be at his best if he's doing that. If we get the light version, and I understand he wants to be the top 5 scorer and per average per year, but he's already the all-time leading scorer of all time, and if you weigh it against the top 5 scoring averages of all time or getting that 5th chip, which one do you think he cares more? Obviously, he would like to have both, but I think he'd lead towards that 5th chip. So I think that Bron is, like I said, I think we may see a 39-year-old that looks more fresher than the 38-year-old. Now, I'm not saying he's going to score as much, but I'm saying just the way I think he's going to have a lot more fun playing this year. And when LeBron has fun playing, the game is different. And that's what I'm looking for. So I think he's going to do everything that you said. I think he's going to look to play light. I think he's going to look to get his players involved because I think he understands the value of D'Lo being able to hit shots, Reeves being able to hit shots, Prince being able to hit shots. These guys, this is the most range and shooters and the guys be able to make shots from outside the paint that we've had in the LeBron era as a Laker. So I think he's going to milk that. I think he's going to take advantage of that along with the fact that I think that AD is trying to come for every single category he could possibly win. On top of that, and I'm excited. I think we're going to see this version of LeBron that we want to see.
Hey, man, great point you made, man. We could leave it at that, man. But like you said, might not be the most talented roster he's ever had, but the deepest roster by far of LeBron James' career. That's a scary thought, Jeff.
Yeah.
Perfect timing too when you're 22 or you're 21, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's what you're 21. Yep.
Yeah, man. So
absolutely,
deepest roster of his career, amazing. So everything's lined up, man. And so we're gonna see, man. But I'm gonna be right here, man. Hit the like, subscribe, we're watching. I'm gonna be right here all the way throughout the season. And we're about to be cooking, man. We're about to be cooking, man. Shout out to you, Lo, as well.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you for pulling up. I'll catch you on the next one. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Always bringing greatness.
All love, man. Peace.
All right, peace.
Everybody.
All right, Lo. And I think this is the first time you pulled up on the show, Lo. So I appreciate having you. It was fun. Like I said, when I went on this tonight, I was like, my team lost. I'm gonna come on here for an hour. But when you start talking basketball, it can go forever. Right. So it's like, so I had a great time. It doesn't even feel like whatever hours it is. So appreciate you pulling up, and we'll definitely got to do this more on my show and your show. So it's definitely definitely good conversations, and I appreciate you, man.
For sure, man. Anytime. I'm glad I caught you.
Yeah. No, me too. You're welcome on in any time, bro. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right, you have a good one, man.
All
right, and thank you for everyone who pulled up and caught this stream. I know it was a long one again as usual, but when I got people on the panel with me and the conversation is flowing, I'm just gonna let it rock. So these guys held it down a lot today, and like I said, I'm extremely blessed to have people on the channel that that know their basketball, that you know, they can talk good basketball talk. No one's yelling at each other. There's no one talking over each other. Everyone respects everyone's time and opinion, and they're not cooking up weird topics to debate over. You know what I mean? And screaming at each other. That's what it's about on Empire Jeff TV. You know, and I'm not bashing anyone else that does that, but it's just a different alternative to what they do over there. So outside of that, I hope everyone has a good night. I hope everyone has a safe week. I'll probably catch you again sometime tomorrow. I'm really trying to do, I told you guys I was going to try to stay consistent, and I was trying to do more videos and stay 3:11 a.m. live. You know, I appreciate you, Dante. Appreciate you so much. Like I said, I didn't know the stream was going to go this long. But I am happy it did. And like I said, if you guys like what you hear, like what you see, you know, like the topics and everything, thank you so much, Kurt, for pulling up always. These guys, you know, were generous with their time tonight, and they helped the show. So appreciate it. But like I said, if you like, please like. If you're listening to the show and you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Tell your friends about me. Go and share it. Like I said, goes a long way to help the channel. So as I always say, you guys can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the time spent tonight. And like I said, stay safe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.